There is one beautiful peaceful village in the world called Beckridge. Wild scenery in the form of mountain ranges that stretch across the view, blocking out the cold winter winds and protecting you from the cold even at the peak of the harsh winter. A fairly large river runs to the side, making it easy to not worry about drinking water. At the foot of the boundless mountain ridge is the village meadow, and if you look up at the village, you can see a beautiful view. Especially in the fall, when the harvest is approaching, the blonde hills are completely illuminated with golden light. When a light breeze blows, this golden glow sparkles and dazzles the eyes, until an incident happened. One beautiful and friendly family wanted to take away their son. He was screaming and did not want to leave. But the person who was taking the child away thought, "How dare this low-born piece of shit scream and disobey his high-born majesty?" He told the guy that if he didn't go quietly with them, his family would be jeopardized. After this incident, the guy woke up in a carriage. They were going somewhere, but the guy didn't know where he was or where they were going. There were two strange men sitting in front of him, staring at him intently. The guy immediately felt a foul odor coming from behind the carriage, but when he decided to see what was happening on the road, he saw a mountain of corpses. The guy immediately felt sick and vomited right in the carriage, which angered the two men who were sitting across from him. "God, it's disgusting," said one of these men. Also, the man said that looking at the guy you can't tell that he is a warrior. "What kind of crime did he commit to be sent here?" the men asked the guy. But the guy only remained modestly silent in his seat, and the men thought that the guy was not ignoring. This kid really started to annoy the men sitting across from him. One of them even got really pissed off. The second uncle calmed the pissed-off guy down and argued that in any case criminals die here in less than a day. The man had better think about how to make the greatest contribution to their joint endeavor. The man laughed and said that if they demonstrated their martial arts skills, it would be easy to attract the attention of the bigwigs. The man sitting behind the guy put his hand on his shoulder and asked the guy to ignore just those men are that kind of people. The guy turned around sharply, and the man behind him thought he had scared him. The guy immediately asked if the man knew where they were, to which the man only laughed and was surprised that the guy had come here without having the slightest idea about this place. This place was the Cheon Il Plain. Just like the name itself says, Cheon Il is a huge plain where it would take you 1,000 days to cross it. Because of the two factions living here, there had never been a peaceful day in this vast plain. In the northern part of the plain stretches the Alliance of Divine Demons, and in the south, the Alliance of Justice. And in the middle is where the two factions fight endlessly, day and night. The Divine Demon Alliance is an alliance of 6 demonic clans and 72 martial arts sections. This is where all the power of the demonic path resides. On the other hand, the Justice Alliance is founded by sect members who follow the righteous path. It is a group of sects united under the banner of demonic extermination. They stand for justice and seek to eradicate evil. With this conflict between the two factions, somehow it was inevitable that these two powerful forces would clash. In the end, the two factions met on the Cheon Il Plain, causing the Great Demon War between the Justice Alliance and the Divine Demon Alliance. The man sitting next to the boy said this, but he comforted him with a pat on the back, because the boy wouldn't understand even if he heard it. The carriage finally arrived at the military barracks of the Justice Alliance. Around the barracks were built defensive fortifications. When the carriage arrived, a man shouted for the soldiers to line up. A man who looked like a warlord was looking for someone useful in the ranks of the warriors at such a time, and he was surprised to see a small boy in the ranks of the warriors. "What is a child doing in such a place?" The warlord was puzzled and called the boy to him. He called the boy to him and asked him his name and where he came from. But when the boy said that his name was Simho, the warlord immediately realized that this boy was brought from the Pavilion of Shining Clouds. Simho was discouraged because he has no martial skills, and then the warlord asked if the boy had ever studied martial arts, to which the boy replied that he had never. The man was puzzled because what was the Pavilion of Shining Clouds thinking, sending such a small boy to war? Well, it's a place where even people who have mastered martial arts become corpses in an instant, so it doesn't matter. At that moment, the enemies started attacking the Alliance, the drums started beating and people started shouting that the Alliance of Divine Demons was attacking, everyone into battle. No one expected them to show up so quickly after the reinforcements arrived. The two men who were riding with the boy in the carriage looked at each other and decided to act together. Then they could contribute a lot to their first battle. Suddenly the warlord said that the Divine Demon Union is developing their flag by all of them. We need to go into battle and lower the enemy banner. The warlord will officially welcome everyone in the demon extermination squad if they come back alive. Suddenly, a brutal battle ensues and the warlords all rush to certain death. One of the enemy leaders killing Warriors Alliance Justice thought that if they send such pathetic people to fight, then the number of talented warriors in the alliance has reached a minimum. This leader was Suk Daejong, the leader of the army of divine demons. The boy sat in the middle of the battlefield dumbfounded and unaware of where he was and what this place was. All he saw on this brutal battlefield was blood and corpses everywhere. While the boy was sitting there not understanding what was going on, he was about to be attacked by one of the warriors of the hostile faction. But the boy was saved by a stranger warrior who thought he was saving his friend. When the warrior turned around and looked at who he had saved, he realized it wasn't his friend, but just some kid. But the warrior reached out to the boy and asked him what was wrong with his face, why he was so scared. The boy's savior was stabbed in the back with a sword and died. The boy was left alone with the bloodthirsty monster who killed his savior. When the enemy came at the boy, a wild fear of death gripped him. The boy began to reach for the sword, for he could not die such a senseless death. He did not want to die in such a place. He wants to come back alive. Lying on the earth with his face slit open and looking at the corroded sword lying on the earth with fright. The warrior who had attacked the boy was getting closer and closer to him, threatening to slaughter all the bastards of the Justice Alliance. The boy's friend gathered his strength and dared to repel the attack of the demonic alliance warrior. Does the enemy think that the boy so easily accept his death? Because the boy has already picked up the sword and stood in a stance waiting for the attack of the enemy. The enemy thought that the boy was too confident. How dare he oppose him? He was just a little boy. At the same moment, the enemy warrior lunged at the boy to kill him. The boy thought it was the end, but suddenly he repelled the enemy's attack. At the same second, the squad leader of the Black Bull Jujin Ok jumped out from behind him. The commander reflected saved the boy and repelled such an enemy by piercing him with his swords. The boy stood behind discouraged and again not understanding what happened. Suddenly, from nowhere enemy riders with spears and on horses wanted to attack the boy and the Black Bull squad leader. But a girl from the Black Bull squad was ahead of them and attacked them stealthily. She neutralized all the enemy warriors. The girl was Sawa, a member of the Black Bull, and she didn't understand how she could run away when there were so many opponents on the battlefield. The boy saw the whole picture, but he could not understand who were the members of the Black Bull and what kind of Black Bull it was. An elder appeared beside him and explained that the Black Bull squad was a special unit of the Justice Alliance. The elder's name was Maul, and he was also a member of the Black Bull squad. He asked the boy what had brought him to such a battlefield, since he was a small child. Maul examined the boy's wound and saw that early deep, the lad might still have a scar. The enemy army was overconfident, and its commander told his soldiers not to be afraid, for they outnumbered the enemy. But immediately after his command, the enemy warriors were hit by karma. They were all killed by the arrows of one of the Black Bull members. This member of the Black Bull was named Dang Dino, and he was the best archer of the squad. After the enemy warriors were killed by the archery, their commander told everyone to retreat as planned. But another member of the Black Bull, the majestic warrior Guan Suk, appeared in front of them. He clearly didn't want to let the enemy soldiers go. Where were they going if the battle wasn't over, and what a cowardly commander they had. With one swing of his two-handed sword Song Daejong, the enemy squad leader was defeated. The Black Bull commander stood in front of the enemy commander Song Daejong and told him that he would take his head with him. The boy looked dumbfounded at this picture and began to realize how powerful the Black Bull wars are. At the same time, the same people who took the boy Sim Ho away from his family came to Bikriju village. They wanted Sim Ho's family members and the villagers to build a castle today. Sim Ho's father was very indignant. What else does that mean, building a castle? What do they mean? The boy's father wanted to talk to the Shining Cloud Pavilion. He was obliged to do so. The guests said that the head of the pavilion did not have time to talk to this kind of rabble, and refused to treat the boy's father. Simho's father did not understand what was going on and what these people were saying, because it was not what they had promised him, and they had taken his son away. The boy's father left to explain that they took his son away on the condition that they would not touch the village of Bikriju. But this infuriated the unwanted guest who visited the village. The representative of the Shining Cloud Pavilion did not tolerate such treatment and drew his sword and pierced Simho's father with it. Simho's father was also the village chief, and the representative of the Shining Cloud Pavilion killed him, a murder. Simho's father fell right next to his daughter and the boy's sister. The representative of the Shining Cloud Pavilion drew his sword, stood in a threatening pose, and asked if there was anyone else who was unhappy with what was happening. The girl sat trembling with fear and cried beside her father's breathless body. The rest of the villagers ran to fulfill the order of one of the members of the Shining Cloud Pavilion. At this time, the head of the All Still Clouds Pavilion, Jigal Y, stood on the balcony and looked at these people with disdain, calling them pathetic bugs. After the Battle of the War ended, the Special Forces returned to the Justice Alliance garrison. Justice Squad leader Gu Zhonghyun ran into the Extermination Squad leader's tent with the news of the return of the Special Squad. But Justice Alliance Demon Extermination Squad leader Dam Youngsun was clearly not happy with the news. He was furious and didn't understand how the special unit could survive this time as well. How could these annoying bastards even survive fighting against Sukdeong, said the squad leader, slammed his fist on the table. The leader of Gu Zhonghyun's squad had a great idea on how to get rid of the returning special squad. Justice Alliance Demon Extermination Squad leader Dam Youngsun was interested in the plan that the Justice Squad leader had come up with. Gu Jianjian began to tell his plan. This time, didn't the Shining Cloud Pavilion send a child? Questioningly began his proposal to the squad leader. Dam Youngsun immediately realized what he was talking about. The squad leader was talking about the boy who had been taken away from the small village called Bikriju, and what the squad leader Gu Jianjian was going to do with that boy. Commander Dam Youngsun wondered. Gu Jianjian secretly told the commander. Squad leader Gu Jianjian asked the commander to just leave it all to him. Their plan was too secret to talk about it out loud. Meanwhile, in the tent where the special squad warriors were resting, the indignant cries of the Dang Dino archer could be heard. The squad leaders are not giving them any time to rest at all. Already this week they had given them 5 missions to complete. Furthermore, they were still 1 man short, and if the squad leaders were to send their squad to such big battles so often, didn't it look like they were deliberately trying to kill the squad? The swordsman of Guan Suk's squad only chuckled and told Dang Dino's archer not to be such a grump unless they were still alive. Easier said than done. But the squad archer thought that, well, at least they had won this battle, so it wasn't that bad. What also bothered Dang Dino was that squad member Sa Wa had taken the very same Shim Ho boy from the battlefield. But how can they leave such an injured child, said Mall squad elder. He will just take care of his injuries until the wounds heal. Sa Wa told Dang Dino that he has no conscience at all. How can he say that while looking at this cutie? Dang Dino told Sa Wa that he didn't think the boy was cute at all. And where the hell did the captain disappear to? The captain was reporting on the outcome of the battle to the commander of the Justice Alliance Demon Extermination Squadron, Dam Yonasan. Also the captain of the Black Bull Ju Jin OK asked the commander about the child that appeared on the battlefield. He was interested in who sent the boy and whether it was Gal Y. But the head of the pavilion was furious at the captain's attitude, saying how dare he address the head of the Shining Cloud Pavilion in such a disrespectful manner. The commander of the Justice Alliance Demon Extermination Squad Dam Youngsun threatened the captain that he understood that the captain didn't feel sorry for the head of the pavilion. But this time the captain had gone too far. Ju Jin OK was angry at the pavilion head. How could he send a child who is not trained in martial arts to a special unit? Because this decision doesn't make any sense. Commander Dam Youngsun told the captain that the boy was a good kid, and despite his lack of skills, he was able to survive such a large-scale battle. Commander Dam Youngsun also cheekily prodded Captain Ju Jin OK by saying that he couldn't even remember the name of a deceased member of their squad. Oh, that's right. Nangbeek suddenly said to Dam Youngsun and said that the boy would definitely surpass that guy. These words made the captain very angry, and he threw a knife at the commander. The knife hit Commander Dam Youngson's chair and went right past his head. "Don't you dare say Nanjak's name with your filthy mouth," shrieked Captain Ju Jin. "Okay." Even though these words were said by the commander, next time the captain would not let him go so easily. Now the commander was no longer so amused. After everything happened, the captain returned to the tent of the Black Bull Special Unit. There he saw Dang Dino and Sawa glaring at each other and arguing about the boy and how Sawa planned to watch the boy. The captain stopped their argument by saying that a new member had been added to the special squad. Dang Dino shrieked at last. To think that someone could replace Nanjak and join the special squad. The archer thought that it must be some incredible person, but the captain disappointed him by saying that it was the same child they had rescued from the battlefield. These words really scared and infuriated the archer Dang Dino. How could this little guy join the special squad? The boy Simho was also discouraged and frightened by this news. His hands began to shake in an instant. Dang Dino yelled at the captain that he was crazy to let a kid who doesn't even have a base join the special unit. The squad members are here to fight, not babysit a child. Archer didn't realize if Captain Ju Jin had thought about the risks that could happen when he took this child. The boy stood there quietly listening to these conversations, feeling very bad that he couldn't do anything to help. But suddenly he cried out that he agreed he might be useless now, but if the squad trained him in martial arts, he would be able to help the special squad one day. After saying that, the captain sullenly closed his eyes and said that means it's settled. Dang Dino was infuriated by this answer of the captain and with the words "do what you want" and that everyone is crazy, left the tent. Maul, as the wisest old man of the squad, considered Dang Dino's prank reckless. "Yay, okay, little brother, from now on the boy can live with Nuna," Sawa said and hugged the boy. The captain instructed everyone that from now on, the whole squad will train the boy. The boy needs to be trained properly so that he can join the special unit as soon as possible, and the boy's training starts right now. When everyone had left the tent and only Captain Ju Jin and the elder Maul were left, the conversation turned to the fact that the captain probably had a lot on his mind. Maul wondered if there was another reason he had taken the boys into the squad. For the captain was not one to obey orders from his superiors. The captain explained that Jagal Y seemed to have his own plans for this child. Maul asks what that wounded kid Shimho is supposed to do with Jagal Y. The captain said that he doesn't know the details. Probably they are planning something to keep him hostage, and it doesn't matter if the hostage is alive. That's why the boy was sent to Zhong-il Plains. So that's the reason why the captain took the boy in. He wants revenge on Jagal Y along with the boy. The captain, with his dark thoughts of payback, asked Maul if this is a problem. At this time, the boy had already begun the training that would teach him martial arts. The swordsman Guan Suk was his first teacher, and he made him carry the sacks for the 20th time, asking him what the boy's name was. Guan Suk discussed with the boy his acceptance into the squad, and told him that he sincerely did not understand why their leader had accepted Shimho. But in his condition, the teacher could not recognize the boy as a member of the special squad. Guan Suk also told the boy that he would be able to help him with his training, but the training would be so harsh that the boy might regret it. As soon as the swordsman finished his words, the boy immediately fell to the ground, already exhausted. God, this little guy is so fragile. Can he really be trusted? He can only talk. Guan Suk told the boy that he needed to learn the basics so he could easily control his body. Guan Suk picked the boy up off the ground, threw him on his shoulder, told him to watch, and ran with him on his shoulder at a very fast pace. Guan Suk picked the boy up off the ground, threw him on his shoulder, told him to watch, and started running with him on his shoulder at a very fast speed. The speed was so fast that the boy could not sit on his shoulder and toppled over. He could no longer see the road and shouted, "Didn't you want me to watch?" A month later, the boy was already jumping on the rocks across the river with a big weight on his shoulders. The old man Maul was already watching. He told the boy that he had gotten much better and had really progressed by practicing continuously for a month. The old man asked the boy if he was tired, but the boy said he could handle it. Since Mr. Guan Suk taught him the basics, his steps have become much easier. Maul told the boy that they would be learning something else today and asked Shimho to follow him. The basics of martial arts are of course important, as are tactical skills, But on the battlefield, the most important skill is the ability to control your mind and stay calm. True strength lies in mental acuity, so today we will train the mind, said Elder Mal. To train the mind, the boy asked Elder Mal questioningly, and how is it possible to stay calm? Mal showed the boy an antibacterial plant. It is a vital plant, the main ingredient in many medicines. The elder instructed the boy to gather as many as he could. That was his assignment for the day. What, collecting herbs? The boy indignantly asked the elder how he could survive on the battlefield by collecting herbs. You brigand, don't underestimate activities like herbalism, you'll regret it, Mal said. The best training to develop patience and attentiveness is picking herbs. The old man went towards the forest and said that he would look there, and told the boy to go in the opposite direction. The boy was already thinking that he needed to become strong faster to get out of here. Learning martial arts alone was ineffective. Something else was needed. Even this helpless old man was still looking for herbs. While the boy was walking and thinking, he saw a plant similar to the one the old man had shown him. He wasn't sure if it was the same plant, but he took it just in case. Speaking of which, if this continues, he'll never see his family again. He's not even sure if Hyen's father and sister are still alive. As he was gathering herbs, he saw the Divine Demon Alliance warriors below and stealthily began to follow them. Suddenly one of the warriors noticed the boy hiding behind a rock. He jumped on the rock shouting, "There you are, you bastard." It was yours who attacked the boy Simho and wanted to kill him. But out of nowhere the elder Mal came out of the foliage. He calmly pierced the enemy warrior of the Union of Divine Demons with one swing of the ball. When the other warriors of the enemy alliance wanted to attack the old man and the boy, Mal calculated the direction of the wind and the angle of inclination, and moved a rock off the cliff at the enemy warriors. The boy was surprised that the old man had planned everything so clearly and cold-bloodedly, calculated and defeated the enemy warriors. It would be a big mistake to think that Grandpa only knows about medicine. Suddenly Mal took the boy and jumped up, and there was an explosion under them. An arrow flew straight at them, but thanks to the old man they dodged it. They were looking for the old man and had heard that he had been seen nearby, but they didn't expect the old man to be gathering herbs here. The enemy warrior knew that today was the anniversary of the death of the old man's father Mal, and congratulated him by asking him how to share his father's fate. The warriors of the enemy alliance of divine demons surrounded the old man and the boy. The old man thought this was becoming a problem, so he reached into his pocket and pulled out a torch, instructing the boy to go up to the tree hill and light the torch there so their camp could see the call. The boy quickly rushed to the hill with the tree to light the torch and call for help. The enemy warriors immediately attacked the old man. But the old man told Simho to run away. He would hold off the enemies himself. Don't give them a vent. Such a pity for you. The opponents are just old men, child screaming enemy warriors. Mal responded by saying that they will pay dearly for underestimating this old man. Are they trying to avenge Suk Daejong's death? The enemy warrior said that the old man was full of shit, and no matter what he said it wouldn't make a difference. He would tear the old man to pieces and offer his soul as an offering to his older brother. The enemy warrior also shouted to the others that they should catch the boy. Why they let the boy call the others? The enemy warriors rushed after the boy, but could not catch him, because it is not the same little boy who was before. Mal, seeing that the enemy warriors ran after the boy, attacked them from behind. Why are they running after the child? The warriors that were behind him shouted at the old man, how dare he turn his back on them. Old men are old men, but when it comes to defeating an old man, the enemies can do nothing. Mal had already begun to get on the nerves of the enemy warriors. They were very angry with him, but they could do nothing. The warriors who ran after the boy were prowling around looking for the child in the bushes but couldn't find him. The boy's bush friend attacked his abusers who were looking for him. Shim Ho shot at the enemy warrior, but his arrow lightly grazed the cheek of the offender. The boy realized that he was not hit and had to run away from the enemies as fast as possible. The enemies ran after the boy, because his hiding place was open, but suddenly one of the warriors froze and realized that the old man's weapon was poisoned. In the meantime, the boy had already reached the hill with the tree by which he was to light the torch. We must hurry up and call the others from the Black Bull Special Unit. We must throw a flare. But just as the boy was about to call out the rest of the Black Bull members, one of the enemy warriors hit him from behind. The enemy warrior's blow was so lucky that it threw the boy right back to the tree where he was supposed to light the torch. The enemy warrior came right up to the boy, took him by the throat. He was so angry that he wanted to kill the boy slowly to make him suffer. The old man's lessons for the boy were not in vain. Sim-ho pointed the torch at the enemy and lit it. The light of the torch was so bright and strong that the boy was thrown upwards and the enemy was defeated by the torch burns. Meanwhile, the second warrior came to his senses, began to move and rush to attack Sim-ho. He threatened to tear him to pieces, chop his limbs into pieces and kill him. At this time, the old man had already defeated many elite members of the mysterious moon sect by himself, but how could an old man be so strong? Mal is the weakest man in the Black Bull special unit, the enemy warrior thought, but he turned out to be too strong for him. The enemy warrior also told the old man that he knows why Mal is climbing the mountains. His goal is to find herbs to make him stronger. But that's as far as old man Mal can go. Mal responded by saying that there was nothing more to expect from the demonic cult since they had not been properly taught etiquette, since he was behaving so badly to the elders. Less talk, said the enemy from the demonic cult, and attacked the old man with the hope of shutting this smartass up once and for all. The enemy warrior's attack was not in vain. The old man was caught and tied up. The enemies were already coming closer and closer to the old man to attack and kill him. Mal had already begun to say goodbye to his life and to think about his dead wife. Apparently soon the old man would come to her. But suddenly a hail of arrows fell on the enemy warriors who wanted to kill the old man. All the enemies were killed, and the old man Mal was saved by the archer of the Black Bull Dang Dino. He scolded the boy for leaving without saying anything and said that his actions were absurd. The archer told the boy that he would explain his actions later, but first he had to free the old man. Suddenly, out of nowhere, the enemy unit commander attacked the boy who wanted to free the old man. The enemy thought that the boy was an arrogant brat who had called for reinforcements, and since that was the case, he had no choice but to kill Sim-ho. Dang Dino wanted to save the boy and help him defeat the enemy, but he saw that there were no arrows left in his quiver. This is what happens when you interfere in the affairs of adults, said the enemy warrior and rushed to kill the boy. The boy at this time immediately began to remember the lessons of hovering step taught to him by the swordsman Guan-suk. This technique allows the body to move smoothly, as if clouds were floating in the sky. If one mastered the hovering step, one would not be able to die so easily wherever one went. After the boy remembered Guan-suk's lessons, he immediately used the hovering step technique and jumped off after being above the enemy and dodging his attack. At the same second, the old man threw his sword at the boy so that Sim-ho could attack the enemy. The boy caught the sword and stabbed the enemy commander of the Demonic Alliance squad with a stabbing blow. After all this happened, the old man praised the boy for being able to analyze the situation in such a short period of time and also brought Dang Dino to the battlefield. He really surprised the old man with his actions. But the archer Dang Dino contradicted the old man and said that it was not the boy who had brought him here. He had come here himself because the little scoundrel had stolen his bow. At our place, the old man immediately praised Sim-ho and said that he had accomplished a great feat in today's battle. The boy had really done his best. The old man forced the chatter to stop and called everyone into the house. Their house. Sim-ho fought with the mysterious moon sect and won, and Sawa cried out questioningly when she heard what happened. "Wow, my little brother is so cool," she shouted, hugging Sim-ho and holding him to her chest. Dang Dino was jealous and said that Sawa was treating Sim-ho like an older sister even though she was his aunt. And Sim-ho keeps bragging about the strike. Even though he was just lucky, no one recognizes such an achievement. This kid is really something. He really did it by himself. Single-handedly defeated the warriors, all who mysterious moon wondered Guan-suk. Good job, Sim-ho praised the boy swordsman and his teacher. Now he is a real man. There on the battlefield, and to take care of himself was not an easy task, but he also saved old Mal. The boy was very embarrassed, and Sawa's sister smiled at his modesty. Dang Dino was even more angry at the attitude of the teammates towards the boy. "I can't believe my ears because I saved them," shouted the archer Dang Dino. He thought that if he hadn't found them, I was the kid and old man Mal would be the wine of the world. "Oh gods, good job," congratulated Dang Dinosis Sawa and kicked him on the cheek. Deep night came and Shim Ho went to the training ground to beat the training scarecrow. The boy was seen on the training ground by the captain of the Black Bull Squad, Ju Jin-ok, who approached the boy and asked him to stop for a while, because he was training day and night. What the boy did today was very brave, when faced with a large number of enemies to divide them, and eliminate and then attack from ambush is the most effective tactic, explained to the boy commander. Shim Ho immediately rushed to save Old Man Mal. The commander asked the boy. It was done out of principle to protect their colleagues. It is important. The boy asked about Grandpa Mal's condition, if he was okay. The commander reassured the boy not to worry. Despite his appearance, this old man is in good health. Shim Ho shouldn't worry, he should concentrate on his training now. The commander said and handed him the book. The commander said that his friend had passed away not long ago, and that his friend had left this book behind. His friend had asked the commander to pass the technique of improving internal energy to someone who was suitable for it, and it seemed that the suitable person was Shim Ho. It was a technique that had been passed down from generation to generation, a technique that had been developed in battles against a huge number of opponents. This technique really does contain a great deal of martial arts experience. But the boy was confused as to how the commander could trust him with something so valuable. The commander explained that his friend wanted it to go to someone who deserved it. But even with the best teachers or exceptional skills and technique, in the end, with a lack of commitment to self-study, it would only be a useless pile of paperwork. So the boy should not neglect his training, and the commander accepted the boy into the Black Bulls. Welcome. The commander said he's been training all his life to become stronger. For a child without a strong slave, the only way to become a man is to become stronger. No matter how hard the commander tried, he couldn't rise higher than a third-rate fighter. The reason was because he didn't know the proper techniques to improve his internal energy. The glorified part says that the perfection of inner energy comes with the years. The boy immediately began to study the book. He too is eager to learn it. What a marvelous man with the conviction to become stronger. He decided to create his own martial arts formula from scratch, wondered the boy reading the book. The manual that Ju Jin-ok gave him was more like a chronicle or diary rather than a martial arts manual. In the manual, in addition to the story of Nanjak's life and battles, the lives and experiences of countless people were also described. Shim Ho decided that one day he wanted to see what was at the end of the warrior's journey. The end of Poutine, despite numerous failures, these people never gave up. Shim Ho still didn't understand why Ju Jin-ok gave him this guidance, but in order to survive and return home, he must train for this. The next day, when Mal and Jin-ok were chatting in the commander's tent, Mal said that it was unexpected that the commander had just given him the leadership of Nanjak like that. The commander explained that he had decided it for himself the moment he found out that the boy had gotten here because of Jagal Y's plan. Taking Shim Ho hostage, does that mean they were up to something? The elder wondered. Yes, that's why they have to train him so that the boy can resist, said the commander. Ju Jin-ok isn't sure if the kid can survive until the end. But if he does, he hopes that one day Shim Ho will repay Jagal Y in kind. Nangak would definitely be happy about that. Mal is sure that if what happened to Nangak is because of Jagal Y, then he hates Jagal Y even more than the Alliance of Divine Demons, and they are his main enemies. Isn't the head of the Shining Cloud Pavilion the elder brother of Commander Ju Jin-ok? Asked the old man. Rightly said by the commander, he is considered an excellent elder brother, but at the same time he played a big role in getting the commander exiled to this place, said Ju Jin-ok watching the reflection in the glass. A little later at the Justice Alliance headquarters in the Shining Cloud Pavilion, the girl who was the deputy head of the Shining Cloud Pavilion, Dan Se Rain, came to the head of the pavilion, Jagal Y. Dan Se Rain came to the head with scrolls that had information regarding Deputy General Suk Deong's death. The Light Ones stated that after the death of Deputy General Suk Deong, who was killed by the Black Bull Squad, Yui Jun-hei, the head of the mysterious Moon Sect, was also killed by the Black Bull Squad. Jiggle We immediately thought that it seemed that his younger brother could not sit quietly and like a fish thrown on the shore, fluttering aimlessly. Jagal Y also asked about the situation with the defense of Bikriju village. The girl replied that the report says that everything is going well. If everything goes well in a couple of years, the construction will be completed according to the head's will. Jae-galwi said that his words were true. If I don't hold the village head's son hostage, he won't do anything. Dan Xiarain said that if the report of the Justice Alliance officer was to be believed, the village head's son was still alive and had been accepted into the Black Bull squad. Chief Jigal was furious at such news. How could the child become part of the Black Bull, and why is he only finding out about it now? The girl explained that what happened was that the commander was acting on his own will, but she would immediately request the commander's transfer right away. Jae-galwi was furious. This commander is an idiot. How could he report something so important only now? Apparently little brother is having a hard time. Bikriju will become a fortress of the Justice Alliance, so you must always be careful and stay alert, said the head of the Shining Cloud Pavilion. Walking out of the pavilion head's office, the girl sighed. She had joined the Justice for Justice Alliance, but why wasn't the alliance what she had envisioned it to be? Killing innocent people to take over a village and treating a boy like a toy. What are the girls to do now? 3 weeks later, the boy was practicing on the training ground and honing the skills appropriated from the new book. It was all because of the internal energy of the cultivation technique, although it was still weak as his internal energy had only been formed in 3 weeks. The boy still didn't understand how to accumulate energy quickly, however. He was doing it all on his own. He came to the swordsman Guan Suk for help. He would like to know how to gather energy soon. Guan Suk offered the boy a drink to start with, but he refused. He couldn't drink yet. The swordsman was highly persistent and said that he himself had started drinking at his age, holding out a drink to Shim Ho. The boy asked Guan Suk why he was suddenly starting to act like this. What did drinking have to do with cultivation? The teacher poured more and more drink into the glass. It was already starting to spill over the edge of the glass, but he kept pouring. The boy shouted, "Stop, it was spilling." But the teacher kept pouring, telling him that a small glass could not hold a large amount of alcohol. This is what happens with the boy's inner energy. No matter how full of enthusiasm and will he is, his inner energy will always be limited by his own abilities. And then the boy realized that if his body is not able to accept the internal energy, it turns out that there are limits to what can be achieved by developing internal energy alone. The people who wrote this book certainly know that there are some gaps in their techniques, but no one has ever been able to find a solution to whether or not it's true that there is no way to get stronger in a short amount of time. While the boy was pondering all of this, Nuna stealthily crept up behind him. She suggested that the boy stock up with her for future warfare. Simho went with Nuna to the Manmulro market of the Justice Alliance, and Manmulro means the market where you can find everything. Even in times of war, Manmulro is a place where people live, for whom the market is what they do for a living. Surely in this place the boy can find everything he needs in battle, and this market is at the very epicenter of the war. Of course it's bad enough that there is a series of such grim events, but at least Nuna and the boy miss such a lively place, because it makes you forget about the war. Everyone who saw Sa-wa at the market discussed her, saying she was the flower of death and on the battlefield she was a truly terrifying woman. But no one knew who the kid next to her was. Above all, the best thing about Manmulro's market is that there's a lot of stuff here that you almost never see in war. Suddenly the boy heard two of the Justice Alliance's Spirit Hunter Squad. One of them was named Unchu-san, talking on the sidelines. The two talked about how this is not a market but a bread and butter market, how people live in this place, it's just a backwater. Unchu-san said that his father told him that if he wanted to make a name for himself, he should go to the John-il Plain. So despite the hardships, he settled here. He was also afraid that he would die here before the fight against the Divine Demon Alliance could begin. Shim Ho couldn't stand such talk about this place where people live and work and hit Unchu-san. The boy shamed Unchu-san and slapped his face in the dirt. How dare he blacken this place? The second member of the Justice Alliance Spirit Hunter Squad attacked the boy from behind. Well, the attack was immediately repelled by Sa-wa. After everything happened, Shim Ho and Sa-wa took the two to a secluded place and started questioning them. Turns out that these two along with Sim Ho came from Bikriju village. Sim Ho's father is the head of the village fighting someone to protect the village. He even sent his son as a hostage to seal the deal. And this guy had the role of a fox to get the Justice Alliance to investigate the village. Now Sawa realized that these two willingly came here to benefit from it. Even though they came from the same village as Shimho, they seemed to be too unreliable. Immediately the two said that it was their father's decision and it was against their wishes. But Simho himself intervened in the conversation and said that he heard them talking about coming here to make a name for themselves after their father's words. Unchu-san wanted to address the boy, but he didn't call him by his first name, but in an informal manner, which is the way only close friends or family members can speak, which made Sawa angry. Unchu-san immediately corrected himself and called the boy Hyung in a respectful manner and explained that those who took the boy said that there were not enough warriors for the Great Demon War. The Justice Alliance had taken many young boys from their village, and to avoid being forcibly drafted, he had only one choice. The boy immediately grabbed Unchu-san and started asking about his family and whether they were okay. Unchu-san replied that he could not say that his family was doing well, but at least they were doing well until he left. What does he mean by saying kept well? Asked the boy, angrily holding him by his shirt. The Justice Alliance wanted to build a shelter in their village, so everyone was forced to work. Unchu-san told the boy. From these words even Sawa was surprised. Why would the Justice Alliance do this? Why would they do this? Shim-ho immediately realized where the ends were coming from and said it was all Jigel's doing. Sawa was even more surprised to hear this name. She asked why Jigel, who is from the mysterious Cloud Pavilion. Jigel is a disciple of Moon Chun-sang, the second-generation head of the Justice Alliance. The head of the mysterious Cloud Pavilion, a group of strategists who keep important information. As the deputy of the Justice Alliance, he has very immense power. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that most of the cases conducted by the Justice Alliance are run by him. Even though he's the older brother of the head of the Black Bulls, Sawa heard that they don't get along. She never thought he would do such a thing under the name of the Justice Alliance. This all infuriated the boy even more. What were these rascals even doing while it came to this? These two used to brag about knowing martial arts in the village, but look at them now. People from their village were being taken away and killed as if the Justice Alliance didn't care about what they had done. Unchu-san was already exhausted, and he justified to the boy that he couldn't do anything to help if he resisted. The others would kill him as well as the head of the village. When he told Shim-ho that his father had been killed, the boy turned blue. After saying that, the two ran away, saying that it was their fault that Bakriju had fallen. The boy stood there stunned, blaming himself for what had happened. Shim-ho was very upset at what he had heard and was in a bad mood. He had no mood for anything. He had abandoned his training. He lay there remembering everything Unchu-san had said the day before and replaying the news in his head. The guys had been watching him the whole time. They knew what he was going through. Sawa understood more than anyone that his little sister was being held captive while he fought tirelessly on the battlefield. Just imagine how unpleasant that would be. Moreover, hearing that your parent was killed must be shocking for such a young child, said Gwasuk. Dang Dino also said that this little boy on the battlefield had no history of his own. It was obvious that Dang Dino still disliked the boy. Maul realized that Dang Dino was constantly escalating the situation. In the end, he would receive divine punishment. As night fell while everyone was sleeping, Shim-ho decided to get up and leave, probably hoping to help his sister in some way. He went to the hole in the fence that he had found beforehand when he was practicing. He opened the hole and tried to sneak out through the fence, but he didn't know that the leader of the Black Bulls was waiting for him outside. When the boy was already outside, Jujin-ok sneaked up behind him and asked him if he was planning to defect. The Black Bull leader realized that the boy was worried about his sister, and he told him if Shim-ho wanted to leave, he wouldn't stop the boy. But there is one thing, if Shim-ho leaves now, he will be branded as a deserter and will be relentlessly pursued. If he is caught, he won't be able to avenge his family. If the boy can leave this place, it doesn't mean he can stand up to Jigel. Why? Shim-ho asked the Black Bull captain what he should do in such a case. The boy thought that the leader of the Black Bulls wanted the boy to die fighting for the Justice Alliance that killed his father and made his little sister's life a living hell. Jujin-ok listened to Shim-ho and asked him what he really wanted. Shim-ho told the leader that he wants to avenge his father and save his little sister. After talking to the leader, the boy realized that the only way for him to achieve these two goals is to become stronger as soon as possible. But right now the boy has no other way to achieve that, so even if this body is all he has, he is going to face Jegal Y right now. Mal intervened in the conversation, who said there was no other way. He asked the boy. Mal also told the boy that he seemed to have reached a bottleneck with the Nanjak Internal Energy Cultivation Manual. The boy asked Elder Mal how he knew about the bottleneck in the cultivation manual. Mal said that he had been studying the techniques of internal energy cultivation since he was young. Besides, whenever Nanjak practiced this technique, he was present and could not watch him practice. How could the elder not realize the problem he was facing? The essence of Nanjak's cultivation technique is the balance between internal and external techniques. However, the cultivation manual that Shimho had received only contained the external cultivation technique. So although one could refine his martial art to a certain level, there was a limit to how much one could improve with only external techniques. The boy realized why he had such slow progress when he was trying to accumulate internal energy. It has been a long time since Mal came to the Cheon Il plane, and in that time he has treated many people without regard to their social status. In the process, Mal developed the acupuncture technique. It removes impurities. Also with the acupuncture technique, it corrects unbalanced energy and maximizes the stimulation of innate potential. Thus, it makes the human body as pure as possible in order to stimulate the innate potential. As the human body is purified, it turns into a vessel capable of absorbing a huge amount of internal energy. To receive golden needle acupuncture, one must abandon all previously learned martial arts techniques. No one in the Black Bull Squad has ever received this golden needle acupuncture. Old man, well, isn't this a secret technique that he created exclusively for his own granddaughter? Asked Mal, the leader of the Black Bulls. Mal told the leader that as he knows his granddaughter is no longer in this world. What was the point of giving it a grandiose name if it would just gather dust? Mal needed to use it to show its true value. The leader of the Black Bulls was worried because it was very dangerous. Moreover, if Simho, who had not studied martial arts properly, received the golden needle acupuncture technique, he might even die. The boy clenched his fists and like a man said he would do it. He must become strong. Shim Ho must return to Bikriju village as soon as possible to save his sister and all the villagers. If Ju Jin OK didn't allow the boy to join the Black Bull troop just out of pity, Shim Ho asked the leader to let him do it. Ju Jin OK consulted with Mal, wondering what the elder thought about it. If the boy would be able to endure the process. The elder said that this boy had survived on the battlefield many times and it was probably worth trying to use this technique on the boy. However, it would be better to prepare carefully as he might not be able to withstand the pain and try to escape. They decided to do it in the morning the next day as soon as it bloomed, so everyone went to bed early. When everyone woke up, no one understood what was going on. They all asked the leader what it all meant. They didn't understand what Elder Mal and leader Ju Jin OK wanted to do to Shim Ho. But the elder and the leader seemed to ignore everyone and only talked to the boy. They were ready to start now and asked if Shim Ho was ready. Once they start, there's no turning back. They can't stop halfway. But the boy only said that he's counting on Mal as he has to go back to the village. The elder nodded understandingly and immediately began the acupuncture procedure with golden needles. He pierced the boy with these needles. The pain was hellish, but Sim Ho endured it with all his might. The boy was screaming so hard that the other members of the Black Bull wanted to help him, but the leader ordered everyone not to move. The boy was in a lot of pain, but he had to endure it all. He had to go through it to become stronger. The boy's memories of his father and little sister helped him endure such hellish pain, and he would surely grow stronger and protect his family. A while later, a figure shrouded in light steps silently through the bamboo grove, cutting through the fog of the night. Through the bamboo foliage, she moves with determination, clutching her sword, ready for any outcome. Suddenly, she finds herself surrounded by enemies hiding in the foliage who want to attack her. At first, the girl thought that those who surrounded her were Justice Alliance warriors / Obviously, this mission has been kept secret. Even in the Sky Demon Coalition, only a few people know about it. Does the Justice Alliance always keep their ears to the ground? If not, then maybe these guys aren't the duct tape of justice, thought the girl. The warriors realized that the girl understands what's going on here, They decided to kill her immediately and not wait for the girl to attack them. As expected, this girl is very perceptive. The enemies immediately rushed towards the girl to attack and kill her. But the girl immediately drew her sword and began to fight off the attackers by twirling her sword as if in a dance. This beautiful girl was Jade Empress Seol Su Ryong. That same morning on the Jong-il Plain, Sim-ho was walking through the Manmulro market. It seems he had come for more supplies. Shim-ho came to an old blacksmith whom he hadn't seen in a long time. But the old man pointed out to him that this guy had already been coming here regularly for 6 years. Sim-ho told the old man that he had come to pick up the goods he had asked for last time, at which point the boy had already turned 18. The old man immediately said that he already knew everything and called the guy a scoundrel. According to Sim-ho's request, the weight of the breastplate was kept at 18 kilograms, and together with the shoulder pads and belt, its total weight was 28 kilograms. The old man thought the guy was a crazy person to order such incredible things, but Sim-ho just thanked the old man and left. The size and weight is absolutely perfect. Sim-ho is sure it will help him a lot in his training. As he was walking through the marketplace, a familiar man walked past him. But Shim-ho turned his gaze away and did not even say hello to him. This person was the commander of the Justice Alliance Demon Extermination Squad, Dam Yongseong, and when they had already passed each other, he stopped the guy. Dam Young-sun rebuked Shim-ho that it seemed that the Black Bull Squad did not teach its members good manners. Shouldn't he greet the commander-in-chief when he saw him? Shim-ho immediately replied to him if Dam Young-sun really expected him to be polite to the person who threw him into this hellhole. The assistant commander of the Demon Extermination Squad immediately cried out that this guy was crazy, and he was even crazier than he thought. How dare he speak against the commander of the Justice Alliance? Dam Yongseong said, enough. Is there really any point in plucking a blossoming flower with his own hands? The Alliance commander also told the guy that he didn't know how he had managed to hold on for the past 6 years, but she would be the time when the guy and his arrogant leader would die in agony together. At that moment, the conversation was interrupted by a fight between Dang Dino and Sawa, who were resting nearby. Sawa hit Dang Dino really hard and he didn't understand why she did it. Immediately she told him that no one asked her to put her cheek on the line to get slapped in a game of chance. The assistant alliance commander was very surprised that the wall was destroyed with just one blow. Looking at the girl, it seemed like she didn't expend much energy either. After seeing this situation, they decided that they didn't need to look at it and turned around and left. Shim-ho saw Nuna and asked her cheerfully if she was playing dice again. The girl heard the guy's voice and turned around and asked how he was doing. He was here again to ask for some strange armor. Dang Dino interjected into the conversation and said that after all, Sim-ho is as crazy as Nuna. But Sim-ho immediately answered him. What else can he say when he's being beaten by a woman? How humiliating it is. Instead of going to the Black Bulls, why not go to the courtesan pavilion? Wellon also offered to pick out some nice clothes for him. Dang Dino got mad and asked her to shut up and offered to play another round. But suddenly a smoke bomb flew at him from behind. Dang Dino was dumbfounded. They immediately realized it was an attack. They must pull themselves together and confront them. Also, the guys immediately realized that the smoke bomb had an energy-dissipating poison in it. No one would be able to use internal energy if they inhaled this poison. A large group of hostile people immediately appeared from behind the fog. They immediately slaughtered all the guards who were guarding Manmulro's marketplace. Just then, the same girl, Jade Empress Seol Su Ryong, appeared from behind the fog, with a crowd of enemy warriors with her. It was an attack by the Heavenly Demon Coalition. The Empress exclaimed here Dam Yongseong's base ordered her soldiers to find him. The guards immediately realized that the target of the enemies was their commander-in-chief, and the unloved forces had to stop their enemies. The Empress immediately warned everyone that whoever stood in their way they would be mercilessly killed. Too bad. But Sawa had already inhaled the poison-dissipating energy by this time. She would be useless in this battle. They didn't expect to be attacked in Manmulro Market, which seemed to be a safe place. Unfortunately, the leader was in the barracks at the time, and Old Man Maul went to gather herbs. Dang Dino was immediately attacked by one of the enemy warriors calling him a courtesan. The guy was very angry, because who is a courtesan here? Before the enemy could finish his sentence, he was immediately attacked by Simho. It seems that the poison did not affect him. Simho immediately told the archer to leave and inform the leader, and he would do his best to keep the enemies at bay in the meantime. Dang Dino objected to the guy. If the leader found out that he had come to the gambling hall again, he would punish him very severely. Nuna immediately kicked Dang Dino and instructed him to listen to what Simho said and run after the leader. At this time, the Empress was already walking among the corpses that had fallen by her hand. She was very surprised that the energy-dissipating poison that they had spread did not affect Simho in the slightest. She immediately decided to realize what was wrong and attacked the guy from behind to remain unpredictable on the battlefield. Simho very easily brushed aside her pathetic sneak attack. The guy didn't wait for the next attack and began to charge at the girl with his barrage of blows. He hit the Jade Empress so hard that she was thrown very far away from him, but she withstood the blow. Seol Su-ryong immediately realized that she was dealing with a very strong opponent. This whole story of Jade Empress Seol Su-ryong began when she was summoned by the Lord of the Heavenly Demon Coalition, Dam Chul-hwan. Seol Su-ryong was his younger sister, and they had not seen each other for a long time before he summoned her. The Jade Empress called her elder brother Heavenly Demon Lord. It was obvious what kind of relationship they had. The Coalition Lord asked her if this was the first time they had met since the former Lord of the Heavenly Demon Alliance disappeared, and immediately emphasized that when the two of them were together, they could talk casually. The girl only mumbled languidly, her eyes showing anger. In any case, the reason why the Coalition Lord called the girl to him is because he wants her to go to the Cheon-il plane. The girl was very surprised by these words. She didn't expect to hear that she would be sent there. But since the younger sister has been locked up in that castle ever since their previous lord disappeared, only this time the Coalition Lord wants his younger sister to help him in this war. This mission will be a mission to assassinate Dam Young-sun, the commander-in-chief of the Justice Alliance. According to them, Dam Young-sun often appears at Manmoro Market near the Justice Alliance army camp. If they want to meet Dam Young-sun, they should send someone who matches him. Yes, there is another task for the younger sister. The commander-in-chief gave her an envelope and asked her to open it only when she reaches the Heavenly Demon Coalition's base on the plains. After this order, the events that took place in the bamboo grove happened. The girl was sure that the warriors who surrounded her were sent by the Heavenly Lord. But the warrior she was holding by the throat said, "Why don't she ask her master in hell?" The girl threw the warrior to the ground and told him to tell her big brother that he could use a more creative method next time. But that was just the girl's memories. The scene immediately shifts to the moment of the fight between the Jade Empress and Simho. The girl hit Simho very hard, yes, so much so that he flew back even farther than her at his attack. The guy couldn't understand what this technique was and what this woman was even up to. When Simho looked to the side, he saw shivering with fear of the commander of the squad of extermination of demons. He was wondering where he disappeared. He was not affected by the poison, dissipating energy. Why doesn't he come out and help? Everyone is fighting, putting their lives on the line for him, and he is just a coward. Dam Young-sun immediately explained why he was afraid. He said that this woman was the disciple of the former lord of the Heavenly Demon Coalition, Jade Empress Seol Su-ryong. The girl didn't expect Simho to be okay after such a blow. The guy is surprisingly strong for his age. Now she is interested in who he is. Simho gathered his strength to attack the girl, and he was the one who had to ask such a question. The Jade Empress was very surprised at how fast the guy was. She didn't expect that the Justice Alliance had such a person. However, Simho is not to the point of being so fast that she couldn't handle it. She immediately counterattacked the guy, but he immediately disappeared from her sight. Because of his incredible speed, Simho managed to appear from behind. The girl was shocked by the incredible speed of this guy. He's able to penetrate a space that people can't perceive. He enters the blind spot that people cannot perceive sensation, areas beyond the perception of human phenomenon. It was like watching a leopard or a tiger. It could move forward and backward with just one step. Everyone was very surprised that the Jade Empress was being overpowered by someone with a low level of training. But Unchu-san immediately made it clear that the Jade Empress was probably just probing the guy right now. She is the disciple of Young Moon Sung, the former lord of the Heavenly Demon Coalition, and is also the younger sister of Dam Chul Huan, their current lord. Rumor has it that even if she fights with her big brother, she is on par with him. Moreover, the Jade Empress has yet to use this Jade Divine Fist technique. The Jade Divine Fist is as stunningly magnificent as Blue Jade, but it has the most destructive power among all the martial arts in the world. It can rival even the highest level martial arts. This is the most terrifying thing about the Divine Jade Fist. After the girl probed Simho, she was able to follow his smooth cloudy steps, and they were able to attack each other at the same time. Their simultaneous attack resulted in a large explosion, which shocked everyone present. Simho in a scarlet cloak silently walks out of the mist, his face hidden, while his strength speaks for itself. Opposite in the mist, the silhouette of his rival who had just used the Jade Divine Fist technique appeared. The opponent effortlessly deflects Simho's attack, but the shards of her technique are scattered in the air, her gaze contemptuous of the enemy's weakness. It seems that this is all that the guy is capable of. Simho rushes forward with a fierce shout, cleaving the air with a powerful punch towards the enemy. The guy clenches his fists, preparing to strike. But Ju Jin Ok suddenly appears and his angry shout stops everyone. The captain of the Black Bull Squad praises Simho in a subdued voice for his excellent work in successfully distracting the Jade Empress. Seol Su Ryong turns around in surprise. She didn't expect the reinforcements to arrive so quickly. Ju Jin Ok, surrounded by a whirlwind of energy, with swords at the ready, rushed towards the Jade Empress without giving her time to respond. The Jade Empress parries the leader's attack and admits with irritation in her voice that this fight is beginning to tire her out. Simho strikes a swift blow, and the captain of the Black Bull rushes in after him and collapse on the Empress from both sides. Seol Su Ryong flies off the powerful blow, looking at Simho with disdain, reading him as a pathetic, cowardly man. The Jade Empress fiercely delivers a crushing leg kick at Simho, putting all her contempt into the attack. The Jade Empress descends from the sky like lightning, her kick crushing Simho with a swing, throwing him away. Guan Suk suddenly appeared behind him with his ball raised, his cold voice interrupting the silence of who was accusing whom of cowardice. Guan Suk throws Jade Empress away with a lightning strike, his anger evident in every movement. The Jade Empress is confused, her confidence in the energy-suppressing poison crumbling before her opponent's rapid recovery. She was sure that the energy-dissipating poison had worked on this guy. The Elder Maul suddenly appears, and when he hears the noise, he rushes to the scene of the fight, and happens to dig up some toxin-removing herbs along the way. Sawa bursts into the fight with an icy stare, clenching her fists in rage at whoever dared touch her Simho. Dang Dino is relieved to notice that the fighter's internal energy has begun to recover. The outcome of the battle could change. Ju Jin Ok draws Simho's arm in silent respect, helping him stand up and recover from the Jade Empress blow. Simho, smiling faintly, accepts Ju Jin Ok's outstretched hand. He is wounded, but still full of determination and spirit. In the blink of an eye, the elite warriors of the Heavenly Demon Coalition were crushed under the pressure of a squad of Black Bulls acting with lightning-fast precision. Sawa angrily challenged her enemies. A sword-wielding giant stood behind her, and anyone who dared to touch a Black Bull fighter would pay in full, as they dared to even think of touching one of the Black Bull's men. Elder Maul and Dang Dino stand shoulder to shoulder, their confident gazes leaving no doubt that the enemy has chosen the wrong opponent. Simho and Ju Jin Ok stand side by side, their gazes full of determination, the Black Bull Alliance ready to meet any threat. Jade Empress remembers with disdain the past of the Black Bulls, when they were considered one of the most troublesome units of the Justice Alliance. The Jade Empress pointed at Simho, not hiding her interest. Her voice sounded firm. She wanted to know the name of the one who dared to oppose her. Simho looks straight into the eyes of the Empress and says his name with a firm voice, as if challenging all her arrogance. Smiling with unexpected interest, the Jade Empress repeats his name to herself, Simho. This is a moment she will not forget, and she has a feeling that they will see each other much more often now. Sawa, seized by jealousy and rage, leaps out of her seat, unable to contain her emotions. Shim Ho has become so much more than just a squad mate that the Empress thinks she is that she can seduce Shim Ho like this. Damn, Yongxiang jumps up from his seat, his clenched fists trembling with indignation. He does not believe that Leader Zhu is serious about messing with the Heavenly Demon Coalition. He asks for these people to be destroyed now. After an outburst of protest, Damn Young Sun is immediately thrust into the spotlight at the order of the Jade Empress, and the coalition warriors rush at him with their blades without hesitation. The attack erupts with renewed vigor, and in the midst of the chaos, it becomes clear that the enemy's real target all along has been Damn Young Sun, and everything must protect the commander. Dang Dino rushes to the attack, bow in hand, angered by the sudden appearance of Damn Young Sun, which only exacerbates the already heated situation. Guasuk also bursts into the battle with a mockery of an attack. Isn't that what one does in the higher ranks? Sawa easily repels the enemy's attack and is delighted to realize that she is facing a genius of the Heavenly Demon Coalition that she had only heard of through rumors. Isn't that incredible? With a fierce shout, the enemy bursts into the fight, rushing towards Ju Jin Ok. Their gazes meeting as this is not their first fight. The leaders are sick of seeing the face of this enemy for the past 10 years. Ju Jin Ok strikes Yui San's face with a crushing force, and the meeting of old enemies turns into an instant advantage for one of them. Yui San rushes forward with a fierce determination to prove who is the stronger of the two of them. As one of the coalition fighters falls to his death, in the shadows of a ruined building, Justice Alliance Demon Extermination Squad leader Damn Young Sun stealthily retreats. Damn Young Sun takes advantage of the chaos on the battlefield and flees down a narrow passageway, hiding from the eyes of allies and enemies alike. Jade Empress Seol Su Ryong approaches with cold determination, catching up with the fleeing Damn Young Sun. She correctly assumed that the rat only cared about himself. Seol Su Ryong concentrates the jade energy in her palm, preparing to deliver a crushing blow to Damn Young Sun. With determination and cold majesty in her gaze, she thought her mission was over. Jade Empress Seol Su Ryong unleashes a crushing wave of pure jade energy, filling the space with radiance and power, leaving no chance for the enemy to escape. Shim Ho appears at the last moment and saves Damn Young Sun from certain death with a crushing blow. The boy springs into action, blocking the path of the Jade Empress' deadly attack, protecting Damn Young Sun from it. Shim Ho, clenching his fist, takes the full brunt of the Jade attack to protect the commander at all costs. The Jade Empress, looking regretful, chides Shim Ho for sacrificing himself for a man he can't save, only to protect that man. Shim Ho puts his life in danger, even though he knows he can't win. Seol Su Ryong is puzzled by Shim Ho's actions and, not understanding his motivation, wonders why he is so loyal to his comrades. The Empress launches a decisive attack, piercing her opponent with jade energy without hesitating for a second. Shim Ho deliberately misses in his attack, flying past Seol Su Ryong and avoiding a direct collision. Shim Ho's punch rips off the girl's blindfold, unraveling the fabric and raising scraps of matter into the air. The bandage from the girl's dress, torn off by the punch, falls to the ground in front of the surprised witnesses. Seol Su Ryong is confused and clutches her dress. But Shim Ho's blow was not fatal, but humiliating. Shim Ho looks forward with cold determination, casting aside doubts that he is not loyal to them. His words sound like a challenge, but to whom remains a mystery. The guy clenches his fists and without hiding the pain in his voice says that he is just fighting for his family members who are being held captive by them. With this strength is not loyalty but despair. The Jade Empress' face showed genuine surprise and confusion as she was shocked by her opponent's confession. The Jade Empress looked at him coldly and turned around, thinking, next time it wouldn't end so easily. Seol Su Ryong shouted to everyone that Damn Young Sun had managed to escape. Everyone needed to retreat. One of the warriors reacted unhappily to the order to retreat, asking rhetorically why retreat when their base was just around the corner. He discreetly said goodbye, telling Ju Jin okay to stay alive while he could. The squad was ordered to retreat, and the battlefield was shrouded in thick smoke. Someone used a smoke bomb, giving them a chance to retreat unnoticed. The Empress, shrouded in mist, leaves the battlefield with her head proudly raised and a cold glint in her eyes, They will see Sim Ho next time. Shim Ho, immersed in the smoke and chaos of battle, looked at her and said, Empress Seol Su Ryong is a woman with an unknown target. Shim Ho suddenly stopped and looked at the ground and thoughtfully said, by the way, she had dropped it earlier. The guy bent down, picked up the fallen cloth and froze. He recognized the emblem of the heavenly demon lord. On the cloth that Shim Ho was holding, he noticed the symbol that read Forbidden Demon Palace. His gaze became tense and his face distorted with anxiety. The Forbidden Demon Palace is the place where 10 demons suddenly appeared 100 years ago, committing various atrocities. In Murima, they were known as the 10 Great Demons and were considered objects of fear and terror. In order to defeat the 10 Great Demons, hundreds of skilled martial artists as well as 10 outstanding martial artists united together. After a long struggle, they managed to imprison them all in a huge underground cave under Mount Chilian. After the 10 Great Demons were successfully imprisoned, the entrance was sealed with metal chains and locks to ensure that they could never leave the cave again. Over time, other demons and criminals who had committed unforgivable crimes in Murima began to be imprisoned in the underground cave. This underground cave became known as the Forbidden Palace of Demons, and those who were locked in this underground palace were soon forgotten by the rest of the world. But rumor has it that in the Forbidden Demon Palace, the survivors have banded together and founded a community. From time to time, there were rumors that they were just biding their time in the Forbidden Demon Palace, slowly building up their power. Dam Chul Huan, the king of the Heavenly Demon Coalition, sat with his head bowed, a bowl in his hand, and a sinister grin on his face. The three-brained sage Yam Kinil told Dam Chul Huan with a smirk that he now had a chance to get rid of the Jade Empress and remove her from the Heavenly Demon Coalition. Dam Lord Cheol Huan chuckled and said that calling her annoying was too loud. She was only a little annoying. The three-brained sage Yam Kinil reminded that the plan was for the Jade Empress to die before she reached the Cheon-Il plane. But she was a very tough nut to crack. Wasn't she one of the former Heavenly Lord's watchdogs? Yom Kinil was afraid that she would refuse to obey his order. Dum Chul Huan recognized that his master really wished that woman would keep him in line. He had always been concerned that Dum Chul Huan was following the path of evil. No one can keep the Heavenly Lord in check because he is the one and only absolute of this era. Isn't it all because of the abilities of their talented family members? Dum Chul Huan asked how the search for his master was going. Yam Kinil replied that he was making every effort to find his master, but it would take more time. The Lord demanded that Yom Kinil find the master as soon as possible, for it would be very difficult for him to achieve his goal if the old man was still alive. Yam Kinil replied that he would definitely do so and would never forget. If they followed the Jade Empress, they would surely find traces of the former Heavenly Master. The Lord reflected that his master was unlikely to reveal himself so easily. Yam Kinil addressed the Heavenly Lord, mentioning that there was something he had been pondering for a long time. What was this secret mission that the Lord had entrusted to the Jade Empress? Dam Chul Huan revealed that he had personally made the request to his younger sister. The message said that after making contact with the Forbidden Demon Palace, their men should be brought in and the Justice Alliance's base on the Kinil Plain should be destroyed immediately. The three-brained sage confusedly tried to argue that they had not managed to find the entrance to this place. They know where it is. The Lord explained that they don't know for sure, but so far no scouting party has returned. The three-brained sage said he had a rough idea why. It's because if an outsider enters an abandoned human shelter that the rest of the world has forgotten about, it's like sticking your head in a tiger's mouth. Even if it's the Jade Empress, would she be able to handle so many demons who have been practicing demonic arts for hundreds of years? Dam Chul Huan wished his little sister the best, hiding his true intentions behind a smile. The flag of the Black Bull unit was flying above the Justice Alliance barracks, illuminated by the sunset light. Black Bull Squad Captain Ju Jin Ok recalled the representative of the Heavenly Demon Coalition with rage in his voice and a clenched fist. Dang Dino couldn't understand whether they were going to release all the criminals from the Forbidden Demon Palace just to deal with the Black Bull Squad. Guan Suk didn't know for sure if what they were saying about the demons from the Forbidden Demon Palace was true, but his heart was beginning to pound anxiously. Maul sipped his tea thoughtfully and wanted to know how the Justice Alliance's top leadership had reacted to what was happening. Captain Ju Jin OK discreetly admitted that he hadn't informed the Justice Alliance leadership yet. It's all because Dam Young Sung hid the Manmulro market incident from his superiors. Dang Dino slapped the table in anger, realizing that Dam Young Sung was hiding the truth for the sake of his career. He wouldn't report something that could jeopardize it. Dam Young Sun is someone who is desperate to advance in the Justice Alliance, Maul said. So if he sees something unpleasant and dangerous like the Forbidden Demon Palace, he will try to hide it and not tell anyone. Sawa anxiously asked if they were going to stand idly by while the Forbidden Demon Palace and the Heavenly Demon Coalition were getting closer, because that could jeopardize the entire Justice Alliance. Captain Ju Jin OK silently lowered his gaze, realizing that procrastination could cost the Justice Alliance too much. Simho suggested that only the Black Bull Squad should go on the mission. This caused Captain Ju Jin OK to react instantly. Isn't it their duty, regardless of what the higher-ups say, to protect the Justice Alliance? Does the situation where everyone is in danger even need reporting? Dang Dino immediately yelled at Simho because this is what they call desertion. If they don't report, they will be caught. Will Simho take responsibility? The captain said that first they should find out if it's the real emblem. Captain Ju Jin OK firmly stated that someone has to do it and he is willing to take full responsibility. Captain Ju Jin OK ordered all the members to gather at dawn to go to the Forbidden Demon Palace. Dang Dino was annoyed that everyone agreed with Shim Ho's opinion without reservation, because he had suggested going to the Forbidden Demon Palace. Under the cover of night, the moon illuminated the Heavenly Demon Coalition's base on the Cheon Il plain. Jade Empress Seol Su Ryong was ordered by her master to stay at the Heavenly Demon Coalition headquarters to keep her older brother under control. But without realizing it, she was like a frog at the bottom of a well. Relying on her own accomplishments, she forgot that there were many other strong people in the world. Shim Ho, even after learning that she had been practicing the martial arts taught by her master for many years, he never gave up. For some reason, she feels a deep connection with Shim Ho and is confident that she will meet him again. The head of the Heavenly Demon sect in the Iron Sword Coalition, Yui-san, suddenly entered the room, saying that Jade Empress had found someone. Yui-san was surprised that the Jade Empress was still practicing at such a late hour. Seol Su Ryong looked straight ahead and felt that tomorrow morning, they would have to go on the road. You looked at Seol Su Ryong doubtfully. If it wasn't just yesterday that they raided Manmulro Market, they would be attacked again. Seol Su Ryong was about to voice the Heavenly Lord's secret order, but she suddenly froze as if something had alerted her. The girl's friend remembered that this order had fallen during the battle with Shim Ho when he had intentionally missed. No, it seems that the secret order given by the Heavenly Lord requires only 2 people to go, and the girl thinks it should be her and her brother. Yu-san asked the Jade Empress where they would go, but Seol Su Ryong asked her to keep it a secret. Too much depends on the information not leaking out. Tomorrow, they should go to the Forbidden Demon Palace, Seol Su Ryong said without hesitation. In the thick morning fog, the group slowly makes their way across the slopes of Kiliangshan, wondering why they have to go to all this trouble. Dang Dino, exhausted and irritated, recalls the battles on the Cheon Il plain and wonders why they have to face the problem alone. Sawa abruptly quashes the complaints, bluntly asking if he's really unhappy that they want to prevent the Heavenly Demon Coalition from allying with the Forbidden Demon Palace. The squad continues to search through the rocky gorge, but even after several days, they do not find the slightest trace of the enemy. Dang Dino remembers that also this Jade Empress, he cannot believe that she is related to the 10 great demons. Shim Ho doubts, is this woman really as amazing as they say? Dang Dino, with a shock, he realizes Sim Ho fought with the Jade Empress, don't know who she is. Ignorance is really dangerous. Guan Suk's serious tone is about to explain who Sol Surin really is, the one whose name inspires awe. It turns out that the former lord of the Heavenly Demon Coalition has 2 disciples under his belt. The first one was Dam Chul Huan, surrounded by darkness and power. The second disciple of the Heavenly Demon Coalition Lord was Seol Su Ryong, the mysterious and dangerous Jade Empress. Both disciples showed exceptional skill in martial arts. Dam Chul Huan is ambitious, He couldn't satisfy his ambition simply by studying his master's martial arts. As a result, he craves for more power. The man who pursued his ambition has now risen to the position of the Lord of the Heavenly Demon Coalition. On the other hand, after the disappearance of his master, Seol Suryong, the second disciple of the former Heavenly Demon Lord becomes a Grand Master. She always secluded herself to train alone and never showed herself to the world. And this empress, who usually did not appear, was spotted on the Cheon-Il plains. In just one battle, she destroyed the entire Justice Alliance's demon extermination squad, and because of that single battle, she became known as the Jade Empress. The story of Seol Suryong was interrupted by Ju Jin Ok. The squad leader became wary and ordered everyone to be quiet. There was something ahead. This must be the Valley of Torn Sky, where the Forbidden Demon Palace is located. Dang Dino couldn't believe that this place really exists. Sawa surveys the area and delivers the disturbing news: the locks are broken. Someone has already gotten in before them. Mal calmly explains that the lock wasn't broken on purpose. It's just worn out from time. Guan Suk agrees thoughtfully. The commander stops at a cave and says that somewhere in the depths there must be an entrance to the Forbidden Demon Palace. Sawa cautiously looks around, but noticing the emptiness, he assumes that there is nothing to be found. Nuna deftly takes to the air to scout the area around the gorge, as a long stay here could be dangerous for the whole group. With torch in hand, the commander decisively declares that to find out the truth, they will have to go inside. A torch illuminates the path in the darkness, revealing the entrance to the mysterious depths of the Forbidden Palace of Demons. The group cautiously advances into the dark passageway, when suddenly the commander stops, noticing something strange ahead. Dang Dino asks if the point is that there are still demons here. How can they live for decades together where there is no sunlight? Even if they survive and leave the Forbidden Demon Palace, they will immediately go blind or die from the sun. Sawa asks him what he wants to say, just to be honest and say he's afraid of the dark. A furious Dang Dino reminds him of Old Man Mal's words, warning that without sunlight you can turn into a mummy. The commander suddenly notices that someone has just entered and immediately warns his comrades. The ones who entered the cave were Seol Suryong and her brother Yu Yi-sang, ready for the upcoming test. Could it be that when the envoy of the Heavenly Demon Coalition comes, they just completely ignore their guests? They are very rude. Seol Suryong wondered if the opponents would respect the weak, and Yu Yi-sang remarked that the bravery impressed him. If these are demons that have only recently been released after more than 100 years, they must be extremely strong. Seol Suryong thought, does his brother only take words about fighting to heart? Suddenly, the Jade Empress stopped, and Yu Yi-san realized that there was something in front of them. Seol Suryong quietly warned that even a child would notice their careless hiding and ordered them to come out. Guan Suk swept up, which was to be expected from the Jade Empress. She has a keen eye. The Jade Empress asked what they were doing here. Black Bull Squad, are they trying to get in her way again? Ju Jin Ok said that they know that a coalition of heavenly demons are going to join forces with the residents of the Forbidden Demon Palace. They can't just leave Seol Suryong alone. Yu Yi-sang can't understand how they were found, and Seol Suryong is silent, hiding her thoughts. Shim Ho immediately asked Jade Empress if she was looking for the message he was holding. The guy reminds Seol Suryong that she dropped this at Manmulro Market, but the Jade Empress tells him that he got the message as expected. Yu Yi-sang turns to Ju Jin Ho. He seems to have lost his nerve. He can't believe that Ju Jin Ho crawled into the tiger's den by himself. Why don't he hurry up and get out of here? The captain of the Black Bull Squad says that Yu Yi-sang can't go any further and he will stop him. Yu Yi-sang pulls out his sword and mockingly tells Ju Jin Ok that with his lousy skills, he should have said it first. Yu Yi-sang is sure that this day will determine the fate of who lives and who dies. Seol Suryong asked him what he meant by his mission to accompany her Forbidden Demon Palace. Her little brother said that he knows about it, so logically that's what he should do. But his heart tells him otherwise. Now is the perfect opportunity to wash away a decade-old grudge. Yu Yi-sang is going to kill Ju Jin Ok today and break the chain of this annoying curse. Jade Empress asked for the sect leader's patience. Has he forgotten the purpose of their coming here? The heavenly demon sect leader said that if they caused enough commotion, the demons would manifest on their own. Yui Sang is raring to fight, sure that in any case, all their enemies will die here and today. Ju Jin Ok attacks with determination, surrounded by glowing energies, ready to fight. Today he will face his enemy. Yui San and Ju Jin Ok collide with incredible force in a mighty battle, fire and lightning tearing the space around them. Yui San, with rage in his eyes, rushes to attack, shouting insults at the enemy. His strike determined to destroy the enemy. Yui San and Ju Jin Ok clash in a tense battle, their swords glinting in the light and energy shaking the air around them. The warriors continue their fierce duel, each strike accompanied by a powerful blast of energy and collision force. Enemies collide forehead to forehead, each fighting with desperate fury, their blows sparking light that illuminates the gloomy walls of the cave. In an epic clash, Yui Sang and Ju Jin Ok show off their sword skills and power as their battle shakes the surrounding area with bright flashes and destruction. As the cave begins to collapse, a powerful explosion shakes the ground. Rocks and dust fly around, threatening the safety of the heroes. The warriors are stunned by the sudden collapse, their attention completely absorbed by the falling rocks and dust. Dang Dino is panicked and angry, realizing that the enemies intend to destroy this sacred place. The entrance to the cave is blocked and the squad members are at a loss. Sawa wonders about the fate of the leader and Shimho. Dang Dino calls out through the rocks to the leader and Shimho's kid, asking if they're okay. Ju Jin Ok and the kid immediately on the other side reply that they are both fine. Seol Su Ryung is also concerned about sect leader Yu. She too yells out if he's okay. But immediately, she saw Yui San continue his attack on the leader of the Black Bulls, Ju Jin Ok. The commander repulsed Yui San's attack and ordered everyone else to get out of this tunnel as soon as possible. And Ju Jin Ok himself will stay in the cave to quickly deal with what is happening there, and after a while will follow them. This tunnel will collapse soon. It's dangerous for everyone to be here. There's nothing the team members can do even if they stay here. Guan Suk asked the leader to be careful, and Old Man Mal told Shim Ho to help the leader. Yui Sang said he's fed up with it. It's driving him crazy. Stop talking. The fight must go on. Every time Ju Jin Ok sees Yui Sang's face, he vomits every time. The commander told him that he shouldn't have any mirrors in his house. With a face like his, he should be thankful that Ju Jin Ok is willing to fight him. Yui Sang and Ju Jin Ok continue to fight, their punches flashing in a tense battle. If the fight continues at this pace and Seol Su Ryung continues to wait, the tunnel will collapse. Now when it came down to it, she'll just go to the Forbidden Demon Palace herself. But then Shim Ho appeared in front of her to confront her and prevent her from entering the Forbidden Demon Palace. Shim Ho never ceases to amaze the Jade Empress. He asked her why not just return. But she replied that it was simply impossible. Just as he had something to protect, the Jade Empress also had something to protect. If Shim Ho continues to get in her way, she will have no other choice but to kill him. But the guy can't let the Jade Empress move on. To this, Seol Su Ryong replied that it's fine if Shim Ho's answer is like this, and started to accumulate energy. Jade Empress Seol Su Ryong swiftly attacks Shim Ho, releasing powerful blue rays. Shim Ho deftly dodges the powerful blue beams fired by Seol Su Ryong, showing his agility and quick reaction time. The Jade Empress is surprised to notice that Shim Ho has become even faster, surpassing the speed of his last fight. Seol Su Ryong swiftly attacks Sim Ho with a powerful energy punch, but he manages to dodge, avoiding a direct hit. Jade Empress knocks Sim Ho down with a powerful punch, showing her strength and determination in this fight. Sim Ho feels a very strong blow that could change the course of the battle. The kid, filled with rage after being hit by the Jade Empress, prepares to retaliate. The kid repeated the divine Jade Fist that the Empress used yesterday. He learned it just by fighting her once. Sim Ho gathers energy in his palms, preparing for a powerful attack against the Jade Empress. His determination and tension can be seen on his face. The guy swiftly rushes into the attack as if releasing all the stored energy into a powerful strike. The explosion of light and the dynamics of the movement emphasizes the strength and determination of his action. Shim-ho explodes with incredible force with a powerful punch, causing an explosion and debris to fly around him. His attack is devastating and spectacular. The guy made it very clear to the Jade Empress that her attack would no longer work on him. Seol Su-ryong realized that, as expected, Shim-ho was a very dangerous opponent. She can no longer let the guy stay alive. He is too dangerous for her. The girl concentrates to accumulate a powerful energy that sparkles and glows around her. The atmosphere around her changes drastically, creating a tense and menacing feeling before the impending attack. She decided to see if she could avoid Shim-ho's attack, since it was much more powerful and stronger than the one she had used against him before. Seol Su-ryong performs a powerful and spectacular illusory palm strike, preparing to strike Shim-ho with a strong and unexpectedly fast strike. Seol Su-ryong's chi attack spreads in 5 directions at once, creating a wide and powerful sweep of energy, striking all around. Shim-ho decided to use smooth cloud steps in order to repel or evade the Jade Empress attack. Now the Empress must concentrate and find all the flaws in the illusory palm strike. While she was pondering, Shim-ho quickly snuck over to her and decided to attack her immediately. After this attack, the girl decided to use the snowstorm fist in order to hurt Shim-ho as much as possible. The guy saw that this attack was very dangerous, but if he had dodged it, that tunnel would have collapsed. Even so, the Jade Empress gathered all the energy to attack. And since it came to this, Shim-ho must face it head-on. The two rivals come together again with their fists on the battlefield and cause a huge explosion. The squad, including Old Man Mal, Guan-suk, and others, finally find their way out of the cave. They see the light at the end of the tunnel and rush to the rescue. The group finally gets out of the cave and into the fresh air. They are happy that they were able to survive and find a way out of the dangerous place. When the squad went outside and walked a little further, they saw that a squad of enemy forces led by Jigal-Y was already waiting for them. The guys were very surprised. Jigal-Y said that from now on, all members of the Black Bull squad should be arrested for desertion. Jigal-Y is the leader of the secret cloud pavilion. Why is he here, and who is that man behind him? This man is recognized by the squad members as the one who sold the village to Shim-ho, and his name is Unchu-sang. A man in traditional clothing with a beard appears and demands to know where the leader Ju-jin-ok is. Apparently he's connected to the military or administrative power and wants to know the fate of the squad leader. Sa-hwa answers him that the leader is still inside the cave and she is fully responsible for that, and she also asked him not to involve her unit members. Jigal-Y wondered why they were all here. He abandoned their leader there inside. Sa-hwa immediately revealed that the Jade Empress, Seol Su-ryong of the Heavenly Demon Coalition, had appeared together with Yui-san, and they began to fight. The cave began to train, forcing them to split up. The deputy head of the Shining Cloud Pavilion, Dan Sia-rain, immediately recognized the name of the Jade Empress and was surprised that she had come here for the demons. Sa-hwa immediately says that they haven't found anything yet, but they came here looking for demons. Jigal-Y irritatedly remarks that while the war is going on, the others are still playing their game. He can't believe that they were influenced by unverified information and thinks that even if they are stupid, they should have waited for orders anyway. Ryung asks the leader what they should do. She thinks they should rescue the leader Ju-jin-ok first. Jigal-Y says that according to the squad, Seol Su-ryong is in the cave with their leader Ju-jin-ok and immediately calls Yo Boaru over. He orders to use a siege bomb and blow up the entire cave so that no one can get out. Sa-hwa is very unhappy with this order and claims that their leader and Shim-ho are still inside. Jigal-Y replies in a cold, languid voice that small sacrifices are inevitable on the battlefield. At that moment, Dang Dino, an archer of the Black Bulls, shoots an arrow at one of the Justice Alliance fighters, saying that he is sick of that squeaky voice. Dang Dino told them whoever took one more step toward the cave would have his head blown off. The Justice Warriors thought he was crazy because they were on the same side. The commander of the Justice Alliance warband also asked the Black Bull warband what the hell they were doing holding a wounded fighter. He also said that they were ignoring the order of the Secret Cloud Pavilion right now, and told everyone to attack and those who retreat would be considered rebels. This great commander ordered all the fighters to catch the traitors who dared to disobey the order. The Black Bull squad also joined the battle. No one was to get past them. Meanwhile, in the cave, the Jade Empress was already lying leaning against a rock in the dust cloud, wondering what kind of lunatic was fighting her. After all, facing her head-on in the midst of this chaos was a very big madness. If she couldn't use the mixed origin demon key to protect her body, then she wouldn't be able to guarantee her safety in this state, not to mention Simho. She thought that maybe by the time she could use the demon key, Simho would have already come to his senses. But Simho immediately turned around and asked if the leader was fine at this moment after such an explosion. The girl, seeing this picture, thought it was absurd. The key of a divine demon of mixed origin could not be used until one had mastered the heavenly demon technique to the 5th level. It was one of the best martial arts of the Heavenly Demon Coalition, and now Simho could resist her technique without it. He had become much stronger than before. This guy, that Phoenix, in Korean Phoenix, after reaching Nirvana can become much stronger. At this moment, the head of the Heavenly Demon sect in the Iron Sword Coalition, Yui-san, was lying in a chest of rocks impaled by Ju Jin-ok's sword, and it looks like they won't be able to determine a winner this time. Ju Jin-ok in turn also says that he is tired of constantly crossing swords with Yui-sang. Yui-sang tells him that if they were born under different circumstances, they could have been good friends. Immediately the Jade Empress approaches Yui-san and asks if he's okay, to which the sect leader tells her that he must have looked very pathetic in her eyes. He thinks this is his end. He immediately asks Miss Seol for a favor, but the Jade Empress asks him that he expects her to do him a favor after he failed the task. Yu replies to her that he knows he's asking too much, but however, if she successfully returns to the Qianil Plain to look after her subordinates, they've been suffering for 10 years since they started following him. How sad they would be if they knew that their leader was dying such a senseless death. In his last breath, sect leader Yu said that he begged the Jade Empress, searching in his head, to leave this world. Miss Seol sighs heavily, realizing that she has lost a loyal friend and comrade, and tells him that she will remember it. Shimho runs up to the captain of the Black Bull squad, Ju Jin-ok, and shakes him awake. The squad leader opens his eyes, looks at the protagonist, and apologizes for not being able to protect him to the end. Shimho yells at the leader to hold on. He will try to get them out of here quickly. But Ju Jin-ok gives him one last order as his leader, saying that he trusts Shimho to the Black Bull squad. The leader asks him to stay until the end and protect his fellow squad members. Shimho must protect everyone from the enemy's attack until they all escape. He asks the guy to be the last shield of the Black Bull squad. Shimho makes his promise to the captain of the Black Bull unit, and says he will do it, but also asks the leader not to speak in such a weak voice. In the end, the Black Bull unit pride Captain Ju Jin-ok's prestige. Captain Ju Jin-ok, severely wounded, lowers his head and goes into the next world, sinking into silence and darkness. Shimho tearfully asks the leader to open his eyes, reminding him that the rest of the squad is still waiting for him, as he promised they would return safely. Just then, the Jade Empress approaches them with a warning that the tunnel is about to collapse. If Shimho doesn't leave now, he will be in even more danger. The girl doesn't think his leader would want that. Shimho replies that he's not even sure what his leader really wanted. Immediately, Shimho's anger builds up, accusing the girl of blabbering on and on, thinking she knows. The girl replies to him that at least she knows that their leader would not want the protagonist to be buried fighting against the Jade Empress. Shimho rises in the middle of the ruined space, preparing for the next clash with the Jade Empress. Shimho tells the girl that all he knows is that their leader didn't want her to live. Shimho's gaze is full of determination and anger, feeling that the fate of the entire squad depends on this battle. The girl in front of him looks at him with a heavy heart, realizing the gravity of the moment. Shimho unleashes a flurry of blows on the girl. The Jade Empress immediately realizes that she was wrong. Communication is impossible because the protagonist's mind is already clouded with anger. She wonders if Shimho wants to follow in the footsteps of her leader. I retreat from the guy's punch. The girl uses a mixed origin demon key technique to take minimal damage from Shimho. At the barrage of punches from the main character is still coming at her to her side, The guy's punches come crashing down on the girl again and again. Seol Soo-ryung is surprised to realize that the ultimate silk technique has just been used against her, but immediately sees that no, Sim-ho is so deep in a trance that he has no idea of the technique. The demonic chi of the Jade Empress, despite her mixed origin, is no longer able to hold back Sim-ho's barrage of blows. She realizes that it is no longer possible to underestimate this Sim-ho guy's strength. From now on, she will have to fight with all her might. The guy never ceases to surprise her. The Jade Empress asks the protagonist rhetorically if he is going to retreat. After receiving silence in response, she declares that she has no choice but to reveal her true power. Seol Soo-ryung thinks that Shim-ho is to blame for bringing this on himself. The girl launches an attack using the demon pacifying palm technique against Shim-ho. The technique against the guy proves to be very effective and pierces through him, but his strength and determination can be seen in his every move. He is determined not to give up. Meanwhile, outside the cave, a squad of black bulls are still fighting the warriors of Jigal-Y. No one will be able to get through them no matter who comes. Suddenly, everything shook. An earthquake and an eerie rumbling sound came from outside the cave. Everyone was surprised by such power and strength that was used against Sim-ho inside the cave. They didn't understand what this trembling was. Old Man Maul immediately smelled a huge amount of demonic chi, and he was sure that the same demonic chi that the former Heavenly Demon Coalition Lord had. The Black Bull Squad immediately saw the Jade Empress flying out of the cave at a great speed, but no one understood why she came out first. Sawa immediately rushed towards the cave to see how the leader and Shim-ho were doing, but it was too late. Jade Empress Seol Soo-ryung threw the sword that was fiddling in the ground, right in front of Sawa to stop her. Maul assumed that even if they now entered the Forbidden Demon Palace, these bastards would blow up the tunnel. Dang Dino realized that damn things had gotten even more complicated than they were, and the leader and Shim-ho stayed down there. Maul prepares a smoke screen for a quick getaway right now. He spreads the smoke all over the area, and the enemy commander orders his warriors not to let them retreat. They must catch the traitors who betrayed the Justice Alliance. The enemy commander, while pursuing his enemies, suddenly encounters the fragile Sawa. With a cold voice, reminding that they all can't survive after betraying the Justice Alliance, he decisively attacks the girl. From the commander's powerful punch, Sawa flies off and crashes violently into a rock. He quickly catches up to her and grabs her by the throat. There is no mercy for her at this moment. But suddenly the head of the Shining Cloud Pavilion, Jigal-Y, intervenes and stops the commander. He says that no matter what, Sawa fought to the last for her leader. Isn't she a loyal dog, faithful to the end? He explains that such faithful dogs are usually very useful, and asks for Sawa to be brought back. The commander, though reluctant, understands and complies. The deputy head of the Shining Cloud Pavilion, Dansei Rain, asks Jigal-Y what action they should take next regarding the tunnel. Jigal-Y replies sharply that it is obvious no one should be allowed to leave the Forbidden Demon Palace. He orders a siege bomb to be used to blow up the tunnel, and then quickly puts out the fire so the situation doesn't get out of control. Dansei Ryan asks Jigal-Y if it's not a good idea to first find out if their leader Ju Jin-ok is still alive and how things are going with Shim-ho, since they're probably still inside. Jigal-Y replies with a chuckle that no one can know if that traitor Sim-ho and his leader are still alive. The commander interrupts the conversation, telling Ms. Dunn that enough is enough. He orders her to step aside out of the way and throws the siege bombs towards the tunnel. Sawa is held down by two warriors. She tries to break free and yells loudly for them to stop what they are doing. Suddenly there is a huge explosion and the tunnel is completely destroyed by fire and smoke. Unchu-san, clutching his head, apologizes to Shim-ho. He didn't expect things to go this far and the situation to escalate to the extreme. The commander, grinning, says that sooner or later everyone will face divine retribution. There's no way to avoid it. Dansei Rain thought deeply. After everything that had happened and the things she had done, she began to doubt if she really belonged to the right faction. And just like that, the entrance to the palace of the Forbidden Demon disappeared, along with the leader of the Black Bulls. The young man, sworn to avenge his family, disappeared into the dark depths of the abyss. Left among the rubble of the rocks, without the slightest glimmer of light to see anything, he realized that he was unable to escape his fate. But that was until he met them, the very demons he had been searching for in the depths of the cave. 10 years later, a sailboat with yellow sails sails near Mount Killian. The water is calm, with rocks and greenery all around. A group of people in traditional dress gather on the deck of the ship, wondering what the people from Murim are doing here. An elder with a beard explains that they are facing a sect of smiling two-faced demons. Immediately after him, a girl in a red outfit also announced herself from the other side. She is a representative of the Holy Maiden sect. The people on the ship were puzzled and did not understand why so many famous people of Murim had gathered here. They also didn't understand who these people were looking for, or if there was anything special about this place. Just then, the Continental Bureau manager Won Meng-san appeared in front of them. He only now realized that all those smiling two-faced demons and the Holy Maiden sect had been following them all this time for the sake of the artifact. The sect representatives thought he was a real idiot if he only realized it now. The girl in red said with a sly laugh that the Holy Maiden sect was quite interested in this artifact of his, so he shouldn't be greedy and give the artifact to her. The old man from the smiling two-faced demon sect said that to think that the representatives of the Continental Bureau were sailing on a pathetic merchant ship, carrying such a valuable artifact, they really screwed up. The Continental Bureau manager Won Meng-san took a shortcut. Since his schedule was tight, he didn't expect so many people. Also, he was too complacent, however, considering that they were translating the ancient red jade cauldron. It was a closely guarded secret, and Won Meng-san didn't understand how these sects knew about the cargo being transported. The Great Moon Blade sect also appeared, saying that they were also interested in the ancient red jade cauldron, so everyone else should not forget about them. The girl in red immediately recognized Master Nan Hyun of the Great Moon Blade sect. She was quite surprised that they had also come for the ancient cauldron. The ancient red jade cauldron, as the name implied, was a small cauldron made of red jade. The reason it was so valuable was because it had incredibly unique effects, especially when using an ancient red jade cauldron with special medicinal herbs brewed in it. It produced the divine elixir of the great Brahma, which is said to be able to resurrect the souls of the dead. One thing is for sure, people who know the location of the ancient red cauldron belong only to the chosen ones. But what kind of situation is this? If only these people had deliberately inflicted the information, otherwise there couldn't be so many famous martial artists here. The Continental Bureau manager pointed out that all these masters who came here from Jianghu were trying to steal the national treasure of the Central Plains Kingdom. What excuse could they have for their actions? But one of the sect representatives said that he didn't need to worry about it. All he needed to do was to hand over the ancient red jade cauldron. There was no way Won Myung-san could protect the ancient red jade cauldron with the meager forces of his kingdom. If he gave it to them, they would protect his kingdom and treasure from everyone else. The representative of the laughing two-faced demons shrieked that this was ridiculous and all of this was unconscionable nonsense. The girl in red looked like she wanted to say the same thing, but it would be bad if it became known that they had taken away the ancient red jade cauldron. To keep it a secret, she'll have to kill everyone on the ship. After all the words were said, all the sect members from different sects turned on each other. Won Meng-san saw that despite all their talk, no one had made the first move so far, probably because they all know each other's skills very well. If anyone had taken the first step at a time like this, things could have ended very badly. Another person got involved in this race for the Jade Cauldron, but according to him, although the best solution is right in front of everyone, sects only make each other worse. The crowd around is wary of the new person, wondering who he is. Only the girl in red immediately recognized this man as the Blood Dragon warrior Il Chong. What was he doing here? The other crew members were surprised when they heard his name. He was a legendary person, but no one had ever seen him in person before. Il Chong proudly said that he was the only unique Blood Dragon warrior. Blood Dragon warrior Il Chong, this man is more famous and terrifying than anyone else on board. Jianghu martial artists recognize the sacred technique of divine form. Without any restraint or hesitation, once he identifies someone as his enemy, he will never let him live. Moreover, Il Chong belongs to the Justice Alliance, and he is very famous in those circles. One of the other sect members was even surprised that the Justice Alliance was interested in the ancient Red Jade Cauldron. But Il Chong explained that it had nothing to do with the Justice Alliance. He just had a personal interest in the ancient Red Jade Cauldron. Hearing this, the sect representative realized that no matter what happened here, the Justice Alliance would not interfere. Instead of wasting time, Il Chong proposed to take the ancient Red Jade Cauldron first and then decide who it would belong to. Of course, the first priority in solving this issue is the elimination of all witnesses. Two sect warriors in red cloaks synchronously rush into battle, their blades glinting, and their thoughts seem to coincide. The elder in traditional clothing reaches forward in terror, begging for the fight to stop to protect the innocent. The warrior in the red cloak rushes forward, swinging his sword with desperate fury. The enemy seems to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Suddenly a traveler in a straw hat appeared, sitting on board and sipping leisurely from a flask. The sect warrior was surprised that even in the midst of battle he had time to drink. When the sect warrior presented his sword to the straw hat traveler's face, the companion told him that of course he had a call to die drunk. The red cloak sect warrior swung his sword furiously and with the words "die," wanted to strike the traveler. When the warrior struck, the guy in the straw hat's eyes lit up. A burning rage flared up in him. The attacker's face was flooded with a bright light. His eyes blazed with ferocity, and his tense expression betrayed his unbridled anger. The warrior in the red cloak leaps to point his sword at the mysterious traveler in black robes with glowing eyes flooded with light. No one present on the deck understood what was going on here or who the man in the hat was. Il Chong taps the scroll while barely holding back a smile, realizing that a true genius had been hiding here all this time. Holding the gilded scroll in his hands, Il Chong politely asks the man in the hat what his name is. But to his questions, the guy in the hat just stands there silently looking in his direction. Here Il Chong realizes that it seems like their reasons for being here are different. He asks the guy in the hat if he wants to intervene. Il Chong also tells the hat guy that if he just leaves, then Il Chong can turn a blind eye to the fact that this guy wanted to interfere. To this the hat guy just turns around and starts walking away. This was the first time someone had disrespected Il Chong like this, and he wanted to embarrass the hat guy by saying that it looked like he had studied some pathetic martial arts and hadn't realized how big the sky was. The guy in the hat looked back at Il Chong and told him that if he retreated now, the guy would keep him alive. Il Chong asked what would happen if he didn't leave, and the guy in the hat immediately told him that he would die. The situation on the ship was getting more and more heated. The two warriors were no longer as polite to each other as they had been a few minutes ago. The other witnesses here were watching in shock. How could this guy in the hat say such a thing? Only if his fighting skills were far superior to Il Chong's. Il Chong became furious and yelled his name and pointed out that he was from the Justice Alliance. And if the guy was not afraid of the Alliance, then let him take off his hat and proudly show his face. When it comes to people who talk nonsense, actions speak louder than words. One of the red-clothed sect members interrupted an important conversation and wanted to attack the hat warrior. All the other members of the other sects also decided to attack the stranger in the hat to teach him a lesson. The entire deck of the ship pounced on the unknown warrior who appeared out of nowhere and did not belong to any sect. The others thought that together they could defeat him. Il Chong wanted very much to be the one to end the life of the hat-wearing stranger and tried to hit him before the others. But the stranger put his finger on Il Chong's forehead, and he was struck by a force he had never seen before. Falling to the deck of the ship, Il Chong manages to grab the stranger's hat and pulls it off him. Blood Dragon warrior Il Chong, a top-class master, died in such a pathetic manner. Everyone was in a terrible shock, not realizing who the stranger really was, as he seemed to be some unknown master. The people on deck couldn't even look this man in the eyes, as if his gaze was a razor-sharp sword, ready to pierce their chests at any moment. Just looking at him, they felt their hearts were about to burst. This stranger and the master who was able to kill Il Chong with a touch of his finger on his head was none other than Shim Ho, the hero who had disappeared in the cave 10 years ago. He had finally returned. He looked at the other guys and asked them if they were going to fight him too. The girl in red, puzzled, who had already cooled down from the attack, apologized to Sim-ho, saying that she didn't know that there were experts aboard this ship, and asked the guy for his name. The guy with burning eyes and fury in his gaze, in a cold and rough voice, said his name, Sim-ho. The girl in red pointed out that he didn't have a title, as expected, which meant that he was just a new master. As a member of the Murima people, he should have known better. If he had any knowledge, he would have never killed Il Chong, the Blood Dragon warrior. Il Chong is a member of the Justice Martial Alliance, and what's worse, he is a named disciple of Grandmaster Cho Cheon-ho, the head of Qianwal Pavilion. If Shim-ho had any common sense, he shouldn't have killed Il Cheon. Now after killing him, the Blue Moon Pavilion will investigate it. Cho Cheon-cho, the leader of the Blue Moon Pavilion of the Justice Alliance, just won't let someone off the hook for killing one of his students. If Cho Cheon-cho takes action, the Justice Alliance will follow suit. If that happens, Shim-ho will have nowhere else to hide from him. Today, there isn't a single person who can ignore the influence of the Justice Alliance. That's why Shim-ho killed Il Chong. He needs the Justice Alliance to find him himself. The girl didn't understand whether Shim-ho was just an idiot or a great master who didn't care about the Justice Alliance. A sect warrior called Sim-ho a bastard. How dare he speak against the Justice Alliance? Even if he's crazy, there's no need to pull the other sects along with him. Sim-ho isn't sure about all of this, but there's one thing he's sure of for sure. If there is one thing he is sure of, it is that this member of one of the sects in red will die before him. The sect warrior's hands shook, but he was going to fight with Sim-ho. He couldn't back down and slap his face. Although it would be great if they were able to obtain the ancient red jade cauldron, it was not as important as a human life. The girl from the Saint Maiden's sect announced that they were retreating. No matter how valuable the red jade cauldron was, it wasn't as valuable as their lives. On the other hand, the member of the other sect that Sim-ho spoke to said that he would never give up the ancient red jade cauldron. Similarly, the elder from the other sect also declared they too would never give up the ancient cauldron. How could they give up after sacrificing so much blood, sweat, and tears? They all attacked Sim-ho once again to win and take the reward of the ancient cauldron. But when their weapons were about to make contact with Sim-ho, he simply disappeared from their sight. In a flash, Sim-ho was behind the entire crowd of warriors who wanted to deal with him. He immediately attacked those who were trapped in his trap and overpowered them in a matter of seconds. The girl from the Saint Maiden's sect didn't even feel or see even the killing intent. They all died without even realizing what had happened to them. Someone who uses a never-before-seen martial art. A master who is not afraid of the Justice Alliance. Who completely controls Murim. Has Murim, which has been remarkably quiet since the Great Demon War 10 years ago, turned to chaos. A while later, the ship arrived at the Fallen Dragon's port and Shim-ho got off. One of Fi-du Nim's aides, who was the captain of the ship, stood behind and wondered who the hell this guy was. The captain answered that he did not know but realized that the mere presence of this master was stifling. Given that he had such skills, if the captain and this guy asked around a bit, maybe he would be able to find someone who knew more about him. Coil Song and Great Moon Blade Sect Master Nanhyun, the smiling two-faced demon, and even Il Chong of the Justice Alliance. No one could compete with him. His movements were like those of a ghost. It looked like he would cause great turmoil in Murim's future. It was nearing evening at the Great Fortune Hotel, and all the talk was about what had happened on board. Sim-ho came here to dress up. He did not care what he wore, as long as it fits today's fashion. A friend of the hotel enters, a large man under 2 meters tall, pumped up and with a fierce look. He looks strong. They are martial arts masters. Did something happen? But it was only young Master Dam's security guard. But what brought this master here? Did something happen? Young Master Dam immediately started the conversation by saying that he had been told about the attack, so he decided to come here in person. While the young master was telling the owner of the place about the purpose of his visit, the elder who came with him approached the girl in red who was on the ship. The girl was surprised to see him because he was the mad wrath of heaven's Yam Cheon-hwa. And what was he doing here? He explained that he had heard that several rabid dogs, including this girl, were hunting for an ancient red jade cauldron, an artifact requested by the young master himself, and how dare she try to commit such a crime. But the girl did not know who the red jade cauldron was for. If she had known it belonged to the young master, she would never have done it. Dam Chianak was a great scholar, a heaven-blessed genius with an intellect that even God envied. Possessing an exceptional mind capable of photographic memory and a terrifying ability to understand the basic principles of any martial art at a glance, truly a once-in-a-lifetime genius. However, the benefit of such perception is also accompanied by God's wrath. Thus, he was born with a pulse disabling the 9 yangs. It is a disease in which the 9 vital energy channels are severed by excess yang energy, resulting in death before the age of 20. It's a disease akin to divine punishment where a person burns like a flame only to be extinguished in an instant. Once every 100 years, a person with the pulse of the 9 yangs appears. However, before they can fully display their exceptional talents, they die from the intense heat of overflowing yang energy that burns their veins. Dam Chianak, who is about to turn 20, will die within a year if he does not prepare any countermeasures for his condition. That is why the ancient red jade cauldron is of vital importance to him. When the sects found out about the ancient red jade cauldron, there was no information related to young Master Dam. Otherwise, they would have never tried to interact with the ancient red jade cauldron. But old man Yom Cheon-hwa thought that the girl was using that as an excuse for her actions. The girl asked him to believe her so much that they must have been set up. But all was decided the moment one of the righteous paths was implicated in the theft. Master Dam asked the captain where the red jade cauldron was. The captain replied that the cauldron was on the ship, its location was well hidden, but in truth, he had always had it from the beginning, and now he was handing it over to Master Dam. Suddenly, some bandits burst into the establishment, asking for the ancient red jade cauldron. But they were stopped by the huge guy who was Master Dam's protector. He dispersed all the bandits who had broken into the establishment in an instant. The demonic ghost sword was an unforgiving demonic technique that couldn't be undone until blood was shed. Even though he was Yom Cheon-hwa's student, his teacher didn't want this guy to become one. Yom Cheon-hwa's teacher chased the girl away and asked her to leave before he changed his mind. Young Master Dam wondered who sent all these people. Could it be his older brother? It seems that leaking information about the ancient red jade cauldron is not enough. Now he is resorting to the help of assassins. This is the current state of the world of Murim. Most of the organizations that operate secrets are part of the Justice Alliance. More specifically, they are part of the Secret Cloud Pavilion, and quite impressive that they must be quite desperate. After successfully eliminating Ju Jinik, who could be considered their main competitor, they fear the emergence of another competitor, so as subordinates of the Justice Alliance, they must remove all obstacles. And by doing so, they eliminate potential threats and problems for the future. That's the nature of the Murim. It is much more effective to eliminate potential threats in advance because if the observation is already so obvious, how much worse it will become in the future. The young master even felt funny because his life wouldn't be boring, but his teacher didn't think so. At this point, Sim-ho, who had already eaten dinner, decided to get up from his chair and go about his business. Until now, he did not care about what was going on in the inn. This greatly surprised the young master. Did Sim-ho just sit there quietly while people were killed? Well, until Sim-ho stood up, everyone else did not notice his presence here at all. It seems that Shim-ho is an unusual master. The captain of the ship said that if it wasn't for this man, they would have lost the ancient red jade cauldron. The smiling demon twins, Nan Hyun of the Great Moon Blade sect, and finally the blood dragon warrior Eil Cheon all died at the hands of this master. So he is clearly not an ordinary master. As Sim-ho headed for the exit to leave this place, young Master Dam respectfully shouted at him to wait. His protector and bodyguard, a 2-meter-tall Ambo, without waiting for his master's orders, immediately stood in front of Sim-ho with a formidable gaze. Young Master Dam explained to Sim-ho that he just wanted to have a chat with him. He heard that Shim-ho was fighting for the safety of his property, but the guy said it wasn't because of Master Dam, but because they wanted to kill him. Shim-ho turned around to leave, but he was stopped by the Ambo saying that his master was not finished talking. Young Master Dam asked Shim-ho to understand that his subordinate was only stepping forward for his sake. Shim-ho said that they might just die then, and the 2-meter-tall overgrown man just got mad at that moment. But Manhwa, the teacher and mad wrath of heaven, asked his student to step back and let the two people talk. The teacher thanked Shim-ho and expressed his gratitude for what he had done and asked if the guy was staying at this hotel by any chance. Sim-ho replied that he rented the annex and he didn't care what they were doing, because he was doing his own thing and they were doing theirs. Ambal wondered why the master stopped him and did not let him teach Sim-ho a lesson for his insolence. The master said that if he hadn't stopped him, he wouldn't have been able to stand there and talk to him so calmly. He would say what he thought. They have no idea how strong this master is, so at least until he fights him no one will know about his strength. At this time, young Master Dam wondered if this guy was really that strong, because he could smell a dangerous odor coming from him. Only those who have crossed the line between life and death many times exude such a fragrance. He is someone who has gone through numerous trials and tribulations, someone he would never want to meet as an enemy. It had been several days since Shim-ho had left the cave, but subconsciously, his mind had yet to break free. No, ever since he was abandoned on the Kianil plain, such a comfortable bed didn't suit him. While Shim-ho was leaving the hotel he met the captain, and the captain told him that he was lucky to be able to say goodbye to Shim-ho before he left. If Shim-ho did not mind, he would like the captain to accompany him. But Shim-ho did not listen to the conversation and refused, for he was going back to Pekriju. At the Blue Moon Pavilion, the news reached the head of the pavilion, Master Cho Cheon-ho. From what they had learned so far, it seemed that there was an unknown master involved, one of his subordinates told him. According to the report, he was the one who killed young Master Il Chong as well as the others. The investigation team was incapacitated, so a more detailed report would be available soon. The pavilion head demanded that, if it is true, capture this master with alive by any means. He personally wants to make him experience hell. On the way to the village, Sim-ho sat by the fire and had a snack before resting and traveling further. Suddenly the bushes shook not far away, and the boy realized that someone was watching him. He asked this guy to come over if he was hungry. Sim-ho wanted to share his dinner with him. It's okay. The boy just needs to come and get a piece of meat. Without thinking much, the boy greedily took that piece of meat and bit it off the bone in big chunks. The boy did not strike Sim-ho as the kind of person who would wander around a place like this. Sim-ho asked him if he had a problem. It's okay. Sim-ho said, if the boy doesn't want to talk, he doesn't have to tell. The boy shook. The boy chewed the meat and began to tell. His name is Wu Jinha Chongsu and behind this mountain is Chongsu village. Shim-ho exclaimed Chongsu village is a day's walk from here through the mountains. The boy that came on his own. The truth is that the boy is being chased by the Black Tiger Fortress. The Black Tiger Fortress kidnapped him and blackmailed his father. After an overheard conversation it became clear that even after receiving the money they do not intend to let him go. So the boy took a risk and ran away last night. If Shim-ho stays near him he will be in danger, explained the boy. The boy also said that he wanted to leave after he had finished his meal. But Sim-ho told him to stay where he would go at such a late hour. Also Sim-ho said that it's okay if the boy rests here, and the next day in the morning Sim-ho will take him home. And that he is being brave after all, he is only a child, thought Sim-ho. Fears of loneliness from being in a strange, unknown place. Sim-ho knows it all too well. Suddenly the bandits appeared from behind the bushes, shouting that the little brat was here. The boys couldn't believe how hard they had tried to find him, and how they had gotten here so fast. The bandits said they would make the boy pay for all the trouble he had caused them. One of the bandits inquired about the identity of the protagonist. He wondered who he was and what he was doing near the boy. Sim-ho said that he would keep them alive if they retreated now. At this point, the bandit realized that Sim-ho didn't seem to know anything about the Black Tiger Fortress. He asked the protagonist to keep his nose out of their business and get out of here. After saying that, an attack immediately followed. But none of their efforts to attack the protagonist did no good. No one was able to harm him. The next day, the boy's father stood in the courtyard of his estate and pondered the fact that the boy only had to wait a little longer. He would surely save him. Jinha was the boy's name. How scary it must be for him to be alone on the mountain surrounded by bad people. His father remembered how those bandits took the boy away. How he screamed and cried out, "Dad." A father who can't even protect his own child, how can he be so incompetent? He thought he was hallucinating even now, but suddenly his son hugged him. The boy's father invited the protagonist to come inside and eat. Everything was ready, but Shimho said that he only saw the boy off because they were going in the same direction. The boy's father eventually persuaded the protagonist to come inside to eat. He didn't cook much, but it looked delicious. Another man was already sitting at the table, and the protagonist immediately asked who this man was. The boy's father explained that this man he had invited to save the boy, and he was from the Justice Alliance. The father just didn't expect the boy to return before the master left. The heavens must have heard his pleas. The master of the Justice Alliance couldn't believe that the boy's father had entrusted such an important task to this buffoon in the face of the protagonist. How low this man should treat the Justice Alliance to invite such a pathetic warrior. The boy's father explained that this master just happened to help. Considering the trouble they went through to come here, the master of the manor wanted to keep his promise and give the money they had agreed on. Also, the boy's father suggested before this alliance master with justice leaves to spare a few days to relax and enjoy. This master was agreeable to such conditions. Simho said that he was a bit tired and would have breakfast later after a good sleep and rest. As the boy escorted the protagonist to his resting place, he said that he was sorry that the protagonist had to hear such words, but Simho really didn't care. But still Simho saved the boy, and the boy apologized for the discomfort he had caused. Shimho said it was all right, he didn't do it to attract attention. Immediately after he said that, there were screams from the side of the manor. They were attacked by bandits from the Black Tiger Fortress. They were looking for the people who came from the mountain. They were looking for that bastard who killed their subordinates and interfered in their affairs. They also thought that this person was planning to take all their money. The main representative of the Black Tiger Fortress shouted and yelled and asked the person who did this to come out before he could blow the place up. This person was the deputy leader of the Black Tiger Fortress, and the manor master was curious about what the vice leader of this fortress was doing here. To this, the Black Tiger Gel's Jamu replied that no one could be safe if one of the Black Tigers was disturbed. They had gained confidence. It was the same master who had been summoned by the boy's father to help him. How could a bandit like that doubt the confidence of the Union of Justice? How dare a simple bandit like him talk about it? The bandit explained that he wondered what it was that meant the head had invited someone with skills to bring back his child. The Justice Alliance master thought he was still talking nonsense, but he had saved him the trouble of coming himself, so he wanted to let the bandit die painlessly. The bandit was inflamed by this master's insolence and wanted to see if he could accomplish such a feat. For a simple bandit, his arrogance knows no bounds. The level of this Justice Alliance master was too low for him, so he easily repelled the master's attack. Even stray dogs would be amused to see such an attack. After all, this man is not just a bandit. If the vice leader of the Black Tiger Fortress is so terrible, what about Go Hyun, the leader of the Black Tiger Fortress? While it's true that Kyung So Cheon is an exceptional martial artist, he seems to be lagging behind in terms of internal energy. If things continue like this, he may be defeated at the hands of a bandit. But when the boy asked the protagonist to help him, the master said that this battle is not for a beggar who has a few parlor tricks to get into. When Shim Ho heard the words, he told the boy that he was not going to help the master, because the boy had heard it all himself. The bandit said that he must recognize the spirit of the master, but this old man never fought when his life was in the balance. The Black Tiger bandits always fought for all their strength, that is, until they came to this mountain. Despite the price, they always fought fiercely. This master thought that the man in front of him was just a bandit, but he would soon find out that he was very much mistaken. After all, no matter how many battles this master bandit has fought in, he is still a bandit, and how dare a simple bandit look down on him. The Justice Alliance master wanted to show him martial arts he could only dream of. He used the 10-finger 10-point technique to attack this bandit. The vice leader of the Black Tiger, Jae Mujel, was surprised that this old man was so strong, because he was so old that he was already 1 foot in the grave. When the rest of the Black Tiger gang saw that Jae Mujel leader was almost hurt, they decided to get into a fighting stance and attack master to protect their associate. Simho saw that, as expected, they were bandits using the tactic, and while no one was hurt, he decided to step in and help master. No one realized anything and didn't even see any movement as Simho was in front and grabbed the bandit by the throat. But while the other bandit was trying to attack the protagonist, he paralyzed his enemy's body in one move. The vice leader of the Black Tigers thought about who this bastard was, and how it was possible that he could use such a technique. He immediately ordered the others not to stand still, just to immediately attack this foreigner. The techniques used by these bandits are not like the people of Murim, they are more like a well-trained army. Simho immediately used the forbidden technique against them and quickly eliminated his enemies. Jae Mu-jel told his companions that it was only a forbidden technique, they should not fall for it. He ordered everyone to regroup and attack together. Everyone should come to their senses, victory should be theirs. But Simho used the forbidden technique again, the true style of a demon, the technique of suppressing the rupture zone. This was immediately followed by a myriad shadow technique that paralyzed and disarmed everyone here. To think that such a person exists in Murima, this is not someone they can look down on. The boy's father was surprised and frightened. What kind of martial art Simho used? The vice leader of the bandits didn't understand where the bastard came from and decided to teach him a lesson. He attacked the protagonist again and again, but could not hit him. Suddenly, Simho pierced Jae Mu-jel with the same shadows that he had used to disarm the rest of the warriors. That's when Jae Mu-jel realized that this guy was none other than the god of death. Simho wanted to kill this guy, but Jae Mu-jel begged for forgiveness and asked the protagonist to become. He promised the protagonist that they would leave immediately, repeating it over and over again. But the protagonist had other plans. He wanted to meet the leader of the bandits. All this guy has to do is escort the protagonist to his leader. But Jae Mu-jel is pissed off again, because how dare Simho meet their leader? He will die the moment he comes face to face with him. The rest of the gang members asked the guy who he was talking to, since their rival was silent. The guy claimed that Simho wants to meet their leader without anyone hearing it. But Simho explained that others cannot hear what he says. This man can make his voice heard only by the person he wishes. This is something that only some people in Murima can use. It's what they call sound transmission. All this bandit needs to do is escort the protagonist to his leader, and it's none of his business if someone lives or dies. Jae Mu-jel thought that his opponent was much more experienced than he expected, to a degree that he couldn't fathom. Since there are only kids here, dealing with this guy would be tantamount to suicide. There is no chance of winning. He needs to get out of this situation first, so he agrees to take the protagonist to their leader. When the Justice Alliance master heard that Simho was going with the bandits, he thought that he might have some past ties to the bandits who wore the protective gear used only in the army. The mere fact that such a formidable and secretive expert is already a great threat to the Justice Alliance. He should investigate the matter, and then report it all to the Justice Alliance headquarters. Master Ilya from Justice stopped the protagonist and said that if he didn't see the head of these bandits, he thought he would live to regret it, so he went with him. While they were walking to the fortress where all the bandits lived, one of Jae Mu-jel's subordinates asked him if they would just go back to the leader. They couldn't even get that kid back. Now that they've taken the outsiders, he's afraid their lives will be on the line. Mu-jul shut his subordinate's mouth. Didn't he see what that guy was capable of? He's not someone they can handle. They should be thankful they're not in hell yet. Also, Jae Mu-jel explained that he had an idea, so for now we should keep quiet. They have a chance to win if they mobilize all the guys along with the leader. The details can be thought of later. As long as they can get to the leader, everything will be fine. The others won't just sit back and watch either. The leader thought that Simho didn't realize that he was entering the tiger's den alone. When they arrived, their fortress immediately went to the gate. They were met by the guards. They didn't immediately recognize Jae Mu-jel because he came at such a late hour, so the guards immediately apologized to him. The guy said that he came to meet the leader, but the guards wondered why at such a late hour. Mugul explained that he had an urgent message for the leader, but asked him to be sure to tell the leader that he had brought a guest. The guards immediately opened the gate and let everyone into the Black Tiger Fortress, but the main character was in for a surprise. Jamu Jael and the guard spoke in coded language when talking earlier, this flawless answer outstanding, even better than he expected. Just then, the leader's voice came from the fortress. Mu Geology said that he had brought an important guest. In this case, they should show them the utmost care and hospitality, said the leader of the Black Tiger bloodthirsty battle demon fortress Gwahen. It's hard to believe that Mu Jul can't defeat such an opponent. Go Hyun has become so curious about him that it's driving him crazy. Who had the nerve to threaten Mu Jul and invade this place? The Black Tiger leader wanted to see his face. Mu Jul immediately told his leader that this bastard not only stole the son of their cash cow, but also killed their people. Shim Ho immediately countered that no one had been killed, however. Everyone would be in formation tomorrow. Go Hyun was furious. Such nerves to say something like that, considering that this guy had gotten this far. As expected, Shim Ho was right. When the Great Demon War reached its peak, dealing with Murim's men who had studied martial arts was not an easy task. However, when several soldiers who didn't know martial arts worked together, they could still utilize battle orders. And with these formidable formations, the people of Murim, however artificial they may be, can be subdued. Of course, even if this is the case, even Murim sleep is again the destruction of the formation, so significant change in actual combat is difficult to achieve. Even if it is a formation trained to deal with Murimans, for example, like the formation used by martial artists from the Kianil Plain. Shim Ho thinks these bandits are fellow soldiers who deserted from the Justice Alliance. This infuriated the leader of the Black Tiger Fortress, Go Hung, who called the protagonist a stupid lackey of the Justice Alliance and thought he was asking to be killed. Shim Ho replied that if Go Hyun was a soldier of the Justice Alliance, he must have heard of the Justice Alliance's special unit, the Black Bull Squad. Go Hung was sure that if it was a Black Bull, then their captain had died 10 years ago and the unit had been disbanded. Immediately, the guy introduced himself that he was from the Justice Alliance, a division of the Black Bull, and his name was Shim Ho. This unit was created by one of the disciples of the leader of the Justice Alliance decades ago. They were rumored to have been wiped out in a certain operation 10 years ago. If what Shim Ho says is true, then the Alliance Master should inform the Justice Alliance as soon as possible. He didn't expect to encounter a ghost of the past here. 10 years ago, the leader of the Black Tiger bloodthirsty battle demon fortress Go Hung was also in the Forbidden Demon Palace. Shim Ho demanded that he tell him everything he knows. But the Black Tiger leader said he would only answer if Shim Ho defeated him. He asked him to bring his weapons box. It was the weapons box of 100 soldiers. This box literally contained over 100 different types of weapons, the hidden mystery box. Not only swords and knives, but also spears and staves for use in various martial arts techniques, as well as hidden weapons. Even bows and arrows were said to be hidden in the box of 100 soldiers. The Black Tiger leader revealed that he hasn't used this since he came here, so as not to reveal his identity. If Gwahyun can't kill his enemy, then everything he's done so far will be in vain. Go Hyun didn't know how Shim Ho knew their location or if he came here specifically to find them. But now that he knows their location, the fortress leader must kill him. Right spear, left sword, an unusual combination in Murima. The spear aims for life at important points, while the sword of incredible fury, as if releasing two raging torrents. However, the footwork technique of this man named Simho is also amazing. He moves in the dark like a ghost. This was even more infuriating, because how could this slippery bastard only know how to dodge? But suddenly, Simho decided to counterattack and hit Go Heng's weapon with his shadow fist. It shattered. Simho hit the Black Tiger captain with one blow after another without giving him a chance. He used his true demon style to smash the enemy's box and take victory over him. Simho destroyed all of the Black Tiger leader's techniques one by one, over and over again. No one could believe their eyes. A box of 100 soldiers. Simho wondered where he had heard of this before, and it turned out to be the Black Tiger leader. The army of 100 soldiers of Go Hyun. Despite his low and social status, he was hired by the Justice Alliance and became well known on the Kianil Plain battlefield. In this plain where there were thousands of martial artists, he had caught the attention of the Justice Alliance solely because of his exceptional skill. At first, he was considered just another commoner in the Justice Alliance, but his demonstration of techniques had caught their attention. Gwahen, who wielded hundreds of weapons like his own limbs and dominated the battlefield. It was rumored that even the Heavenly Demon Coalition, an enemy of the Justice Alliance, held him in high esteem. The story of a lone warrior who took part in the Great Demon War 10 years ago. This master is a bloodthirsty battle demon. Now that everyone knows the name of the leader of the Black Tiger Fortress, he can't let anyone leave here alive. He wants to show the protagonist why he was named that, why he is an army of 100 soldiers. Shim-ho gathers the energy of darkness in his fist and delivers a powerful blow to Go-hyun, breaking through his defenses and shocking his opponent. Shim-ho channels the energy of darkness into his fist and knocks Go-hung down with a powerful blow, shattering his sword into shards. The boy soars into the air, clenching the energy in his fists and unleashes an attack on Go-hung, who blocks it with his spear. With energy clenched in his fist, Shim-ho unleashes a powerful overhead kick, and Go-hung meets it with his spear. Shim-ho thrusts in a glowing fist, storming the ground and scattering debris around in an epic explosion. Go-hyun swings his crossbow and fires it with wild force, the heavy tip tearing through the air, blasting the ground and raising a column of dust. Shim-ho deftly intercepts the arrow with shadow energy, showing confident control and readiness for the next round. Immediately, he is in front of Go-hung in a lightning-fast movement, grabs Go-hung by the shoulder and releases concentrated shadow energy, knocking his opponent down. The guy asked the leader of the Black Tiger Fortress to stop there, but Go-hyun thought he was an arrogant bastard and attacked him again. Go-hung smirks and waves his chain weapon, anticipating that the real battle is just beginning. The leader of the Black Tigers swings the heavy chain above his head and brings it down, stirring up dust and showing his indomitable fury. Shim-ho deftly intercepted the spear with shadow energy, rushed into close combat, thrust his fist into Go-hung's chest, rebounded, twisted the chain, and knocked his opponent to the ground. Shim-ho stares forward tensely, shadow energy pulsing in his fist, while Go-hung, gasping in pain, contemptuously declares that he is tired of dealing with the likes of him. Go-hung proclaims the true style of the demon and with a mighty swing, disperses the chain through the air, while Shim-ho steadfastly watches the deadly chain being carried away. Shim-ho concentrates his shadow energy and unleashes the wolf fang dark blade. Dark blade pierces Go-hung in the face, and he realizes that the world is much wider than he imagined. Go-hung falls to the cracked ground, covered in blood and debris, his eyes fading under the weight of the destruction. He realizes that there are some people who cannot be compared, that there is an absolute master. Go-hung, panting and bowed down in pain, admits his defeat. He can't believe that even he couldn't defeat Shim-ho. What the hell is this man? How did he become so strong? After the battle, Go-hyun and his companion bowed to Shim-ho sitting on the throne, speaking to the defeated. The two defeated kneeled, faces in intense regret, exhausted and covered in sweat, realizing how things had gotten to this point. Shim-ho was curious about the gang leader Go-hung, what happened that day in the Forbidden Demon Palace. He wanted to know what happened after his squad left the cave. Since Go-hung couldn't spend his entire life running away from this, decided to tell what had happened. Perhaps it would be best to tell Shim-ho, who was directly involved. The night after the explosion on Mount Killian, Jiggle sent their squad on another mission, that he would beat everyone who was in the cave. The Justice Alliance master didn't believe these words and said disdainfully that it was a lie. But Go-hyun asked him if he had ever been to the Kianil Plain. An old man like him who has never seen a real war assumes he knows everything about the Justice Alliance just because he is much older. Shim-ho became aware that it was not the Justice Alliance that was targeting their squad, but Jgal, led by the Justice Alliance warriors. They did this to silence everyone. They were trying to bury Ju Jin-ok, the leader of the Black Bull Squad and also the members of his Shim-ho squad, alive. So if the public finds out that the Justice Alliance is doing this kind of thing, they will face serious condemnation. So for Jgal, they are just hunting dogs that he can discard at any time. He doesn't want to create unnecessary complications. Go-hyun managed to escape with a few of his men. He knows that he will be chased for the rest of his life, but it's better than immediately dying a dog's death. However, after that he received some strange news. After the incident with the Forbidden Demon Palace, the two forces made a secret agreement. The Justice Alliance and the Heavenly Demon Coalition ended the Great Demon War as if it was just a lie. The Great Demon War was suddenly over despite their intense hatred and desire to kill each other. But how if the war ended? Then everyone else wouldn't need to hide, thought Shim-ho. So why are they still hiding and creating this fortress for the Black Tiger bandits? Because those bastards are still hunting them, said Go Hyun to the guy. Even though the war was over, the hunt for them intensified. At times the soldiers of the Justice Alliance and the Heavenly Demon Coalition fought together. The Justice Alliance and the Heavenly Demon Coalition joined together in the dark to pursue them. The Black Tigers fought off their pursuers with all their might and made it to here where they were now. Since Go Hong wanted to live, there was no other place in the world where they could exist except that place. Immediately, Sim Ho asked Go Hong what happened to the other members of the Black Bull, but the bandit leader didn't know. Other than being attacked by Jeagle-Wise direct subordinates, they don't know what happened to them afterward. Shim Ho thought he would find out what happened to them that time, but he ended up with nothing. Go Hyun asked Shim Ho what he was going to do with them now. Shim Ho said that if they continue to live like bandits, the Justice Alliance will eventually find out about their existence. But Go Hyun said that it was also an inevitable choice for them to survive. It was their last resort. Shim Ho offered Go Hong something that made the Black Tiger leader's eyes water. The next day, Shim Ho brought a gang of Black Tigers to the Wu family's residence. The father and the boy were very worried and frightened. Guohen said the name of Patriarch Wu in his rough voice. This frightened the father and the boy even more. But Guoheng sincerely apologized for any inconvenience he caused. The Black Tiger Fortress agreed to no longer pose a threat to the Wu family. However, Shim Ho asked the Wu family to provide them with enough food to survive the winter. The head of the Wu family agreed to these conditions. If Changsa village could achieve peace, he would give the gang his full support. Shim Ho also said that he would appreciate it if they could settle the matter quietly. He asked when the food is cooked, make a fire at the foot of the mountain and the men from the Black Tiger Fortress will come and take it away. Patriarch, now practically one of them, said to Go Hong. So if there is anyone who dares to touch the Patriarch, just pay for it. The Black Tigers will destroy the offenders without leaving a trace of them. Master Duct Tape Justice wanted to tell everyone what happened here, because who do they think they are? But Sim Ho said that if he did, the guy would not stay away and would not just stand still. These words really scared the master of the Justice Alliance. He is a traitor, but his life is still precious to him. Guo Haiyan is indebted to Shim Ho. If given the opportunity, he would like to express his gratitude. At a glance, he realizes that Shim Ho wants to go to the Justice Alliance area. To get to the Alliance area, one must cross the border between the Heavenly Demon Coalition and the Justice Alliance. Although the Great Demon War has ended and the forbidden regime on the border has been lifted, it is extremely dangerous to cross the border as an unknown person. To get there, Shim Ho must pass through a place called Ant Cave. Jae Mu-jel of the Black Tigers just from the Ant Cave, and if Shim Ho took him with him, he could easily pass through. But Jae Mu-jel didn't like this idea at all. He would give a lot to leave the Ant Caves. He did not want to be a guide for Shim Ho. He thought he was an ignorant fool. Go Haiyan that he forgot why this guy ran away from the Ant Caves. He doesn't want to go anywhere even if Go Haiyan kills him. This guy must be very excited. Soaking wet to come home after being away for so long. Jae Mu-jel was ready to faint from excitement. Rude. Inside he is a person with a warm heart, so Go Hyun asked Shim Ho to keep an eye on this guy. The head of the Wu family asked how he can thank Sim Ho, because in addition to saving his son, Sim Ho solves their issues with the Black Tiger Fortress. But Shim Ho says it's all right and he's very glad it was resolved this way. And to the boy that Shim Ho saved, he said that if the boy wanted to meet him, he could find him in Baekriju when the Wu family's territory was stabilized. The boy asked him what Baekriju was, if there was such a place in the world, to which Sim Ho replied that yes, and soon the whole world would know the name of the village. Meanwhile, in the Justice Alliance, in the secretly clouded pavilion, a bird flew in with news. The bird flew to the leader of the Justice Alliance, Mu Jun, saying, "It seems that success is inevitable if this man acts despite the difficulties after 16 years of perseverance," said the leader reading the message. But then he was interrupted by an elder saying that he had heard that the young master had obtained the ancient red jade cauldron and was on his way back. The surveillance of the young master is increasing day by day. Maybe they should rein in this young one a bit. The Justice Alliance said that let things remain as they are. To become Mr. Moon Young-sain's disciple, he must be able to overcome such things. The elder also told the news about Il Cheon, the said disciple of the head of the Blue Moon Pavilion, Cho Cheon Ho, who was killed when he tried to steal an ancient red jade cauldron. Mu Yung Sang replied that it seems he wasn't the only one who targeted the ancient red jade cauldron. But Yom No was unlikely to be the one who killed him if someone else was responsible for it. The elder replied that it's still under investigation. However, according to a witness, Il Cheon was killed with a single blow. These words greatly puzzled the leader of the Justice Alliance, Mu Jun Sang. He remembered that Il Cheon was a highly regarded disciple of the Blue Moon Pavilion. The elder had heard that the head of the Blue Moon Pavilion had personally gone in search of the one who killed his disciple. The emergence of a new power should be a very interesting event, said the alliance leader, and ordered to keep an eye on it. Meanwhile, Dan Xiarain, the deputy head of the Shining Cloud Pavilion, and the pavilion leader were arriving at the castle he had built in Baekryju. The girl was shocked as soon as she saw the castle, because when she heard about it in the reports, she thought it was just a small fortress on the border. But the castle is so big that it can withstand the onslaught of tens of thousands of soldiers. If the alliance leader finds out that such a castle is being secretly built, there will be very big consequences. But the master must not find out about this. If he really understood the value of this castle, he would have taken an interest in it long ago. He had not come here once in the last 16 years. If he had seen this castle in person, he would never have given so much power to the head of the pavilion. When they had already entered the castle, the head of the pavilion was immediately rushed to the head of the pavilion by the village chief, Yilip, to tell them how much effort and hardship they had to put in to make this journey. Dan Xiarain revealed that his son was serving as the commander of the Cloudball Squad in the Justice Alliance. 10 years ago, there was a man named Chu San, the one who reported about the Forbidden Demon Palace. Lip immediately sucked up and said he was honored to meet the head of the pavilion after all these years. Cho Cheon Ho said that they had done a lot of work in all that time, and worked very hard apparently. If everyone continues to work as hard as they are now, he promised Ilip a prosperous and honorable life. Lip thanked pavilion head Cho Cheon Ho, and said that he was just doing his job as the village chief. From behind the rows of people present here, a girl who was walking angrily towards Cho Hong Ho suddenly came out. This girl was Sim Hien, Sim Ho's sister. She had been walking with words for 16 whole years to meet the pavilion head. She had spent the last 16 years here and built this castle. She wanted to know where her brother was. But the pavilion head Cho Cheon Ho's answer only said why would he know anything about her brother. He had taken her brother and killed her father 16 years ago. Cho Cheon Ho replied that he had no idea what she was talking about. Hyen breaks out of her custody and goes after the head of the pavilion. Because he's lying, he said he'll bring her brother back as soon as they finish building the castle. These words were immediately followed by a slap on her cheek. She was hit by her uncle, the village chief of Ilip village. As the girl was led away from the place, she shouted how many people died and were injured just to build this castle. All of them will surely regret it, just need to wait a little longer. Cho Cheon Ho really forgot about what happened 16 years ago, and wondered why this woman was asking him about his brother. Lip told him that 16 years ago, he had taken the village chief's son hostage, while they were in Baekryju. Cho Hong Ho said that he seemed to remember it, but it's not natural for the weak to be trampled on, so it doesn't matter. He also asked Lip to make sure that next time such pests don't appear in front of him again. Deputy head Dan Xiarain was angry at these words. Had he already forgotten what happened 16 years ago? A while later, Lip came to Sister Shim Ho's house to find out what happened. She's a crazy woman. But does she really want to die? It's been 16 years since her brother was taken from her. At least she needs to know if he's alive or dead. But Ilip said in good faith that even for that she would have to win the favor of the pavilion head. Does she think they will tell her just because she asked? So many villagers have died because of them, and does Ilip want the girl to bow and scrape for them with a smile to hear news of her brother? Living in slavery for her own safety, Uncle only he would do such a thing. The girl will never forgive what happened to her and her family 16 years ago. Meanwhile, Jade Empress Seol Su Ryong came to the Heavenly Demon Police. She came here at the invitation of the Heavenly Lord. It had been a while since they last saw each other, Heavenly Sovereign Dam Chulhuan asked his sister to sit down. It seems that the girl had achieved a lot in the past 10 years of secluded training. As soon as the Great Demon War ended, she immediately isolated herself in the training room. Seol Su Ryong asked her brother if he was disappointed that she came back alive. It seems that the younger sister is still upset about what happened 10 years ago. She asked to just cut to the chase and tell why she was called here. Dam Chulhuan said that there have been some suspicious movements from the Justice Alliance lately. He also said that they need someone to investigate what happened. Seol Su Ryung thought her brother was the kind of person who wouldn't resort to identical tactics from the past, but it seems like he's fallen to new lows. Dam Chulhuan asked to listen to him first. They had recently heard about a serious disturbance in the area of Mount Kilian. Just by mentioning that incident at Mount Kilian, his sister quickly loses her temper. The mere mention of the Black Bull's name conjures up images of the bloody Great Demon War. They were a constant thorn in the side of the heavenly coalition of demons, and Dam Chulhuan didn't expect to be reminded of that event again. After the battle that day, the girl immediately went in search of each of them, a fact that her brother immediately noticed. According to the report, that day at the Forbidden Demon Palace, Yu Yi-san, the master of the Iron Sword sect, had a fierce fight with Ju Jinik, the leader of the Black Bull Squad. Then, Jiggle Y and other Justice Alliance soldiers arrived there and destroyed the entrance to the Forbidden Demon Palace and attempted to arrest Ju Jinik's subordinates. The members of the Black Bull Squad escaped and scattered in all directions. However, there is one person who stayed and fought against the younger sister. Dam Chulhuan has not heard any reports of his whereabouts yet, but Huan is sure that he is the one his sister is looking for. In the vicinity of Mount Chilian, not far from the Palace of Forbidden Demons, there was a report of the Grand Master's appearance. Even if the girl listens to the report, she won't rest until she checks it out for herself, and so the Justice Alliance warriors have gathered nearby to steal something. Suddenly, an unknown master appeared, subdued everyone, and then disappeared. The most important thing is that Mount Chilian is within the territory of the Heavenly Demon Coalition. As a Heavenly Lord, he can't just sit still. In addition, the Forbidden Demon Palace is not far from Mount Chilian. Following along the river, the unknown master arrived at the Fallen Dragon Port and headed to the ant cave in Shenyang. The older brother asked Seol Su Ryung to come to Shenyang and visit their branch to help the girl deal with the situation. The girl immediately got up and left to complete the task. There wasn't a trace of cuteness left on Seol Su Ryung's face, but compared to her, Dam Chulhuan hadn't made any progress. Whether it was possible to achieve everything through martial arts alone, in all this time, she still hadn't established her own faction. Dam Chulhuan asked the three-brained sage Chonil to keep an eye on his younger sister. If he followed her, that master would surely appear. Seol Su Ryong walked and thought that 10 years had passed. Does time really fly so fast? Shim Ho has clearly been crushed in the depths of the Forbidden Demon Palace. But something inside her told her that Shim Ho might still be alive. Meanwhile, Sim Ho and Vice Black Tiger leader J.E. Mugel were sitting around the campfire and chatting. Even though the Black Tiger leader asked his subordinate to be Sim Ho's guide and treats him well, the guy still doesn't recognize Sim Ho. Sim Ho has already replied that such words should only be said by the winner. The vice leader of the Black Tigers said that if not for the forbidden technique, he could have defeated Sim Ho with one finger. Shim Ho was thinking about something else. After 16 long years, he could finally return home, but instead of being happy, he was afraid. Suddenly, a kunai flew from the bushes towards the guys. It passed by J.E. Mugel's head and stabbed into a tree. Their enemies were the people of the pavilion headmaster Cho Cheon Ho, led by the master himself. Behind the head of the pavilion was the same master from the Justice Alliance who had been invited to help the Wu family. He's the one who told who defeated the Black Tiger fortress that attacked Patriarch Wu. Cho Cheon Ho called the guys bastards who deserted the Justice Alliance. Did they think he would just let them go? Shim Ho sat silently on a log by the fire, coldly looking at Cho Chong Ho and calling him stupid. Cho Cheon Ho under the moon with an army behind him rebukes Sim Ho for killing his disciple and stealing the Jade Cauldron while he remains silent. Cho Cheon Ho stands across from Shim Ho in the moonlight, blue energy swirling around him and his eyes blazing with anger. ready to issue an accusing challenge. Shim Ho is the one who killed his student. Shim Ho calmly states that he never killed unnecessarily. Cho Cheon-ho, angered by his audacity, swings his sword, contemptuously calling him a lowlife. Shim Ho deftly parries the blade, and a bright arc of light pierces the guy's dark silhouette. Cho Cheon-ho frowned, angrily rejecting the thought of his student's death. He did not believe that Shim Ho could defeat his student and called him a charlatan. Cho Cheon-ho also ordered to take care of the bandit who was here with Shim Ho. Cho Cheon-ho raised his sword, but suddenly Shim Ho jumped out of the shadows. A fist shrouded in dark energy pierced the space between them. Cho Cheon-ho swiftly brings his blade down from above, but Shim Ho suddenly appears from the shadows and meets the blow with a fist shrouded in shadow energy. Cho Cheon-ho declares that he is the head of the Blue Moon Pavilion belonging to the Justice Alliance. How dare Shim Ho attack him? Even if half of their troops become Shim Ho's enemies, does the guy think he can survive? But this phrase was already familiar to the protagonist. He assumes that his apprentice was on the ship in the Fallen Dragon's port. Between the two of them indeed have similarities. These two both talk too much and have very little in common with martial artists. All disciples and their teachers are the same. With these words and beliefs, Shim Ho proceeded to attack. Shim Ho soared into the air, shrouded in purple shadow energy. His aura spilled over the battlefield, and Cho Cheon-ho and his warriors rushed into a furious counterattack. Cho Cheon-ho parries the attack with a powerful swing of his sword, deftly deflecting the blow, and realizes with amazement that he did not expect such skill from his opponent. Cho Cheon-ho, breathing heavily, steps back and orders his soldiers to attack Shim Ho, giving the command to finish off the enemy. Cho Cheon-ho retreats and his warriors rush forward, shouting orders to attack Shim Ho all together. With a single sweep of shadow energy, Shim Ho entangles his enemies in streams of darkness and knocks them all down at once. In a whirlwind of shadow energy, Shim Ho glares mockingly at his opponent, reproaching him for sacrificing his subordinates for profit and questioning his right to be called a leader. Cho Cheon-ho, covered in blood and wounds, swings his sword powerfully, showing an unwavering confidence that no one will hear the groans of the defeated. With shadow energy clenched in his fist and a mocking gaze, Shim Ho asks Cho Cheon-ho if honor is meaningful if one is defeated. Cho Cheon-ho froze in horror as dark ribbons of shadow energy wrapped around his body, depriving him of his freedom. He called Shim Ho a coward for creating such a trap. But to this, Shim Ho only replied with a sneer that no one would hear the whining of a loser. This pavilion in the Blue Moon, the elite among the elite warriors of the Justice Alliance, no one even thought that someone like Shim Ho could defeat them. Cho Cheon-ho tried to order Shim Ho to stop this technique immediately, and maybe he would forgive the guy by sparing him from death. Otherwise, Shim Ho would turn all the members of the Justice Alliance into his enemies as if he cared. With a single hand movement, Shim Ho broke all of Cho Cheon-ho's bones and defeated him by throwing him to the ground. The rest of the members of the alliance Shim Ho just let go. After all, if they spread the news, the entire alliance will come after him, and it will save him time to search for them one by one. Not only these people will die, tragic events are just waiting to happen. By morning, the vice leader of the Black Tigers and Shim Ho were already walking towards the ant caves. But Jae Mugel didn't want to talk to the guy. Does he really think that Jae Mugel has the desire to talk when they all will die because of the main character? This old man who ran away to the Justice Alliance will bring many strong warriors to chase after them. They must be finished. Shim Ho asked Jae Mugel that he had heard that the Black Tiger Fortress was kidnapping women and children and selling them. Was it true? Such a question greatly angered the vice leader of the Black Tigers. What kind of crazy bastard spreads such lies? Even a bandit has a concept of honor, and killing innocent people, they never acted against their principles. Shim Ho in response asked blackmailing and kidnapping someone else's son for food. Isn't it against their principles? Perhaps we are talking about the women who came to the Black Tiger's relationship with some guys in their mountain retreat. If those who brought their children, which is likely where these rumors are coming from. After the long great war with the demons, those who have lost parents or loved ones are becoming fewer and fewer as the world approaches its twilight. Although more than a decade has passed since the war ended, those who lived through it will never be rid of the aftermath. The Justice Alliance and the Heavenly Demon Coalition were unhappy that they could not absorb each other, so it is difficult to readily accept the idea of immediately ending the war if those who know why the truce occurred. The vice leader of the Black Tigers, Jamu Gel, said that it is so tedious to explain everything in detail, but he will try. Rumor has it that the leader of the Ilias Justice Alliance and the Lord of the Heavenly Demon Coalition met and came to an agreement. It is also rumored that the Justice Alliance first offered a truce because they were at a disadvantage during the war. The Great Demon War that lasted for decades ended just like that, for no apparent reason. However, one thing is for sure, this peace will not last long because both factions quickly strengthened their forces during the truce. It's only a matter of time before the Great Demon War happens again, but it's none of their business. While the vice leader of the Black Tigers, Jae Mugel, was talking about ending the war, they had already reached the ant caves in Xuanyang City. Ant Cave is a phenomenon that appeared after the end of the Great Demon War in the old battlefield in the northern region known as Xuanyang. There arose an area of slums populated by refugees. Originally, it was an underground city built during the Great Demon War, with a large mountain range dug with tunnels to avoid armed pursuers. Over time, the criminals who lived in the slums turned it into a stronghold and began to take over the ant cave and the underground city. The place became used as a smuggling center and a place to store riches. Most importantly, the ant cave is the only way to move freely between the closely guarded territories of the Celestial Demon Coalition and the Justice Alliance. This place is still the same. Nothing has changed here. Shimho wondered if he needed to pass through a place like this to get to Bekriju. Black Tiger Vice Leader Jae Mugel explained that if he thought he could kill all the Heavenly Coalition guards at the border, he could try to cross the border somewhere else. If Shimho wants to go to a place like Bekriju, this is the fastest way to do it. If Shimho were to avoid the Justice Alliance and the Heavenly Demon Coalition in this area, it would take at least a month or two. Besides, when he is an ignorant idiot running around everywhere creating chaos, these two guys will need to get there as quickly and quietly as possible. If the two of them pass through the ant cave, they will be in Bekriju village in 5 days, so Shimho should create fewer problems and just follow the leader. When the two of them reached Xuanyang village, they had to go to an inn, as Jae Mugel thought, but Shimho objected to him because the sun was still high in the sky. Do they really need to look for an inn? Jae Mugel explained that to enter the anthill, one must first obtain the queen's permission. The vice leader of the Black Tiger, Mugel, convinced Shimho by saying that if he had traveled several tens of thousands of miles from Mount Chilian, there would be no harm in bending his neck a little. Jae Mugel said that when he was young, he used to wander freely around the city as if it were his own home, bringing back old memories. Of course, at first glance chaotic, but they have their own set of rules and customs. It is certainly like ants, each of which has its own role, thought Shimho looking at the people in the inn. Shimho also realized that this place was not like a normal inn, and he doubted that the innkeeper had created all this. Despite all of Jae Mugel's statements that they need to hurry, he looks too relaxed, Shimho told him. Jae Mugel calmed the guy down and told him not to be impatient. Shimho needs to relax. Shimho asked who the queen was, but the leader interrupted him and once again asked him to be patient. From the moment they entered here, Jae Mugel was already sure that everyone had already figured it all out. Didn't everyone surround them? Meanwhile, in the Heavenly Demon Coalition in Xuanyang branch, an attack on the ant cave was being planned. The head of the Heavenly Demon Coalition's Xuanyang branch, Gyo Suchong, gathered his subordinates to inquire about the details of the operation. One of his subordinates had carefully planned the structure of the ant cave labyrinth in complete secrecy. He found out the location of this world cave, and the location of the queen. He made sure she couldn't escape. If they let this ridiculous game of hide and seek continue indefinitely, this might be the last chance. So everyone must keep in mind and firmly convey to their subordinates that today they will continue the operation as planned. As everyone knows, this place Xuanyang is a vital forward base of the Heavenly Demon Coalition. However, those scavengers in the ant cave are destroying Xuanyang from within by smuggling with the Justice Alliance. Today was the day when the coalition of heavenly demons would restore order in Xuanyang. One of the subordinates came running and told the branch manager that there was a serious problem. He should go outside and see for himself. The branch manager immediately ran outside to see what was going on. There was a mysterious man waiting for him outside. This girl who was waiting for Gyusukyo just appeared out of nowhere and made everyone nervous. The branch manager asked her, is she really so fearless? How dare she behave like this knowing where she is? But the girl threw the scroll with the heavenly dragon seal right at Gyusukyo's feet. The branch manager immediately started apologizing to the girl he was still calling names. After all, this girl was the Jade Empress. Gyusukyo didn't understand why this girl came personally to such a shabby place, and if there was any problem with their branch. Seol Su-ryong said that she had come to fulfill the Heavenly Lord's order. It was said that the person who had recently caused a commotion in the Chilean mountain area had reached this place. The branch manager said that they had recently concentrated all their intelligence in the ant cave for a major operation, but had not heard any news other than what was happening in Xuanyang. He also said that some worthless scoundrels in the ant cave belonging to the Justice Alliance are causing trouble and they are conducting operations to stop large-scale smuggling. Seol Su-ryong heard that it's safe to enter the Justice Alliance's territory through that ant cave. Is it true? The branch manager said it's true, they have experts who specialize in navigating the ant cave. However, today all the personnel are involved in the suppression operation, so going to the Justice Alliance territory right now would be difficult. The Jade Empress said that if the operation ends quickly, she can go to the Justice Alliance territory right away. Then she would lend a helping hand and assist the special operation that the branch leader of the Heavenly Demon Coalition, Gyosukyo, had devised. This news greatly surprised and excited Gyosukyo. The Empress will personally help them in their operation. The others, when they heard Jade Empress' words, thought that this operation was practically their victory anyway if Seol Su-ryong participated in the operation with them. With the Empress' support, the branch of the Heavenly Demon Coalition gathered a mighty force. The Empress said that they didn't have much time, so the branch leader should take the initiative. Meanwhile, at the Ant Farm Inn, Simho was sitting at the table with the vice leader of the Black Tigers, J.E. Mugel, surrounded by the people of the ant farm. It seems that J.E. Mugel wanted to teach Simho a lesson for defeating his leader. He thought that the guy couldn't use his technique during the day. But suddenly, from behind him, J.E. Mugel heard the voice of a guy named Kwok Hong Che, who called his name and grabbed him by the neck and pulled him out of the table. They hadn't seen each other for 2 years. This stranger said that J.E. Mugel had become extremely brave for coming here after such a long time. J.E. Mugel had already considered half of the ant cave as his own home by this time, but that was just his opinion. Kwok Hong Jae said that the queen is looking for him and J. Mugel better follow him quietly while Young Jae is kind. J. Mugel immediately called Shimho for help, asking him to show them all what they can do together. But Shimho asked J. Mugel, didn't he start it all? Shimho thinks the queen is eager to see him, so let him go by himself. But Kwok Hong Jae said Shimho has to go with them too, he can't stay here. Shimho can't take it anymore, he doesn't care if the queen goes to the Justice Alliance or whatever. He just wants a territorial war right now, so they should take him to the anthill. J.E. Mugel told Kwok Hong Jae that he thought he had lost his grip since the last time they saw each other. That he forgot that Mugel is a 100 shadow demon. Why does he seem weak to Hong Jae just because he always smiles? When everyone heard that he is the demon of 100 shadows, the invincible warrior of 100 shadow spirits that cover the battlefield was all scared. Why no one has ever said that such a monster exists in the world, asked the warriors from the ant cave. But before the fight was about to start, everyone in the hall was stopped by a girl's shout. She asked everyone to stay in their seats. This girl was the queen of the ant caves, a young girl of unprecedented beauty.